It's the Giants and Cowboys on Sunday night again. And Harbaugh and OBJ. They might talk a lot, but is this going to happen? We'll explore it. The Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital live on a Monday starts right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. Cause when it's born, it's always coming to. And all green is always on the sea. And what you're always bring to life, singing, so get ready. Get ready, cause here they come.
All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Talking sports with you. You heard my little tease. So we know that the full schedule for the NFL is going to come out this coming Thursday night. We'll have plenty to say about it once it's all out. But the leak's already happening, and we're going to get some other, I think on Wednesday night, Boy Green, I think they made it official. They're going to give the international schedule, so that will be officially put out. But, of course, this leaks all over the NFL, so it's leaking left and right. And so we open our salve today with this, all right, Giants, Cowboys, Sunday night football. I mean, look, it's exciting to play on Sunday night. It's exciting to play opening weekend on Sunday night. But I'll give you my take right out of the box of this thing. I'm sick and tired of this crap. Be honest with you, I'm sick and tired of playing the Cowboys in game one. I want to play the Cowboys, especially with a young team like I have, when my team has some chemistry, you know, when my pass rush has figured itself out, when my receivers have settled down a little bit, when Malik Neighbors is fully healthy. That's when I want to see Cowboys, Giants, not game one. So it's exciting, of course, to play on Sunday Night Football. By my immediate take when I saw that yesterday from the leakage was, come on, again? Like, how many times are we going to do this? I mean, you got stats on this? It feels like it's been a bunch of times, at least on opening weekend. I don't know if it's Sunday Night Football, but on opening weekend, it just seems like an exuberant amount of time. All right, you have the stat there. Go ahead.
Yeah, there it is from Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network. This is the 8th time in the last 15 seasons that specifically the Giants and Cowboys will open up the season in week one. And also, again, there's this is sort of detective work. We know our good mutual buddy Sal Capaccio. He loves the schedule. He loves bringing on, Steve North and, talking about like the intricacies and guesswork and all this other stuff. But there's all these things. There's a ripple effect in the pond from the Cowboys and Giants opening up the season. Well, you could see it here from Mike Garafolo. Obviously, the Giants and Cowboys were both scheduled to play the Seahawks this season. Because they're playing each other, they're eliminated from opening up the season, which obviously this year is going to open up on a Wednesday night this year, which is very different. That's very unique. So it won't be the Giants or Cowboys in the season opener, which would have been the first game of the season. So that eliminates even more opponents. Obviously, start doing the math. There's 17 games. 8 of them are at home, and 9 of them are away, depending on which side of the conference you're on. Eliminating 2 of those guys limits and narrows the target, which, by the way, I think we have it here from Mike Garafolo. Let me highlight it here. So, okay, these are the remaining home opponents that aren't accounted for yet. So Seahawks are going to open up their season in the NFL season against one of these 5 opponents: the Cardinals, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Bears, or the Patriots. So let me ask you your gut here, Lurch, and then we'll get back into Giants-Cowboys here in a second, okay? Mm-hmm. To start the NFL season, what do you think is most likely, if you had to predict it? It's going to be one of these 5 opponents. It's just up to the NFL gods to pick which one. That the Seahawks will open the season against either the division rival Arizona Cardinals, the Kansas City Chiefs, the LA Chargers, the Chicago Bears, or the Super Bowl rematch against New England Patriots.
Yeah, in all likelihood, it's going to be the rematch. They love to do that. They love to do the rematch. Now, do you want to do it right out of the chute, maybe?
Yeah, right.
Is the only question. So if I had to vote on one and one alone, I would go with the rematch, and they'll just throw the rematch right out there. If I had to go a second one, I'm kind of like in between on either the Bears or the Chiefs. But the Chiefs just seems a little more potentially tasty, even though they've come off that struggle bus season.
But what about Patrick Mahomes? Is he healthy week one? I don't know if you risk that one.
Yeah. I think he will. I think you're going to see him in training camp. I think he's playing game one. I don't think he's going to miss a single game. This guy is as determined a human being as there is out there. I know from the recovery table standards, it's borderline whether he would be fully back. And Obviously, they're not going to take any chances with him. But I also know Patrick Mahomes, and to me, it's a no-brainer. Unless there is a major setback, something goes wrong in rehab, he re-aggravates it somehow. I think 100% he plays in game one. I don't think he wants to see the backup quarterback on that field for
Justin
the
Fields
season. Okay, I think he wants to see only one person on the field the whole season, and that's himself. So I think Mahomes will be ready, but it's a risk, certainly at this point.
For the schedule makers, right?
Way ahead of schedule. It's a risk, no question about it. Is it a good risk? I don't know. So then it leans me towards the other choice here. If you're not going to go with the Super Bowl rematch and you're not going to go with the injured quarterback, well, then the only one left to me is the Bears. Which makes
that's what the fans believe, by the way, Lurch. On social media, right? Fans are guessing. They believe it will be the Chicago Bears, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and that fun story from last year.
I don't know that I'm some kind of schedule savant.
Okay.
But again, if I had to put, $5 down on it and I had the choice of those 5 opponents that you gave me, I'd go with the Super Bowl rematch. I just think they like that kind of stuff. Maybe my second choice in consideration of the Mahomes thing is maybe I lean slightly Bears 2 and then Chiefs 3. But I think it's going to be one of those 3. It's not going to be the Cardinals. Come on. I mean,
that would be underwhelming.
Cardinals. So I don't think that's going to happen. And the Chargers, nothing really sassy about that matchup either. So now I'm going to go with one of those 3. But I don't know that, haven't we seen that before in the NFL, BG, where we've seen the Super Bowl rematch coming right out of the chute after?
We have.
I think we've seen it a handful of times, which is why I'm like, they love to do that because
they
do
done
it before.
There has been other ones where, like, it was Eagles-Chiefs a couple of years ago. They saved it for, like, week 10, week 11. They said, the buildup of, like, the Super Bowl rematch is a big thing. So they have done it all ways. So, it's not like they've only done it one way historically. They've done it both ways. My gut, looking at the opponents, is I think they want to save the Super Bowl rematch.
Okay.
I think they go Bears.
Okay.
I think it's the Bears. And also...
Makes sense.
The other thing here, Lurch, again, we talk about what one thing can mean for another. So because the Giants and Cowboys open on Sunday Night Football at home, the Jets...
That's in the Meadowlands, right? That's at MetLife.
Yes, right. Yeah, it's at MetLife Stadium. If the Jets are going to open up the season at home, the only way to do it is Monday Night Football. I don't think that's happening, with all due respect to our team. We'll see how many primetime games they have.
I agree.
I just don't see that. The game I think that the Jets get, which would then eliminate this team from the opener, I think we get. And no one else is really saying this. I saw in the universe. I tweeted this out like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was just I had it in the middle of the night, as normal people do, dreaming about the schedule. And I tweeted it out. And I think the Jets open up on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Justin Fields is the starting quarterback. You get that revenge angle, which is only available at the beginning. Because to me, I think Mahomes is going to play the majority of the season, but I think they play it easy with him. And they misses a little bit of time at the beginning. Justin Fields, Jets, Chiefs. That's why I think they open the season against on the road against the Chiefs.
To me, there's nothing interesting about that at all.
Come on.
Fields was so bad for the Jets, before it, completely came off the rails. Again, you heard what I just said. I think Mahomes is playing in game one. I think he's back.
Really?
I think he's playing. I
That's
really do.
crazy.
I felt that from the moment he got injured. They were already like rolling out the timetable. He might not be. I'm like, this guy, he's back for game one. There's no way he's missing a regular season football game unless the doctors tell him you can't.
Which he did, obviously, at the end of last year because he got injured. He missed some of those games, yeah.
But that's it. That's the only thing.
But I get you. Betting against him is nuts. I get it. 100%.
He loves football. He is as hard a worker as there is. He's probably attacked this rehab with Adrian Peterson-like, fervor. Okay, remember AP?
He ran for 2,000 yards after
next year. AP's like, I'll be starting this year. He's, there are freaks and there are people that love this game so much that they will do anything to get back on the field. And that guy is one of those people in the NFL right now. That guy loves to play football. He has owned that position for his team, and obviously he's taken them to glory several times. So now I don't see Fields getting on the field unless the doctors literally order Mahomes off it. That's it. Okay. It's the only way.
Which, again, that would make a lot of sense if, he was just back available. Like, he got hurt so late in the season.
Any other interesting Jet matchups besides Justin Fields? I'm not buying that one.
Well, the one that all the fans are, it's Dade County McFly here, says Jets open up against Tennessee. You want revenge. Robert Saleh, Jermaine Johnson. There is like a million former Jets players that are on the Titans. And like they've made jokes about it because Brian Dable, your former Giants head coach, is in Tennessee. And they both, Saleh and Dable, were shopping in the discount bargain bin of former Jets and Giants. And they just like rebuilt that team in Tennessee. So a lot of people are cracking jokes about that. So that seems like the most obvious in your face thing that they could do is Robert Saleh versus the Jets. And again, revenge. They could do that. That's possible. That's what the fans think it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be Kansas City.
Corey Sturgis says he'd love a Jets Chief opener. Means we aren't going to Arrowhead in the winter months. There's a good one. That's a good reason not
True.
to do.
And again, even with everything Lurch just said, Lurch, I think, would admit that there's still a hint of a possibility that it's not Mahomes. That's a net plus for the Jets. If we play him in December, Mahomes going to be ready then. That game's going to be more difficult. So now the only problem with facing Kansas City is look at Andy Reid's record when he has extra time. You've seen that during seasons off bye weeks. So to have months to prepare for the Jets,
good. He's so good.
I don't love it. The good news is there's all these different coordinators, right? There's Aaron Glenn calling the defense. There's Frank Reich calling the offense. So you don't have – it's not like the Jets have had the same coordinators for years, so it makes it easier to prepare for. So at least there's that. But Andy Reid having extra bonus time isn't exactly great. And Arrowhead obviously is a raucous atmosphere. So that would be a fun one, though. That would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, look, that's what I mean. This over in recent years for sure, maybe the last decade, this schedule release day has become a really fun day for football fans. We all crave our football year round. We wish they could just play 365. There's a football game every week. Of course, we don't get to get that. That would just be physically impossible. But we get these nuggets along the way, and the schedule release, which again, the whole thing comes out Thursday night. The international games are supposed to come out Wednesday sometime, and then we get these leaks like we have today. Giants Cowboys going to open up the season on Sunday Night Football. So this is a good week for football fans because we think we're in the dead of summer essentially, or the dead of spring for football. I know some of the teams' rookie camp started. Your Jets were on the field, right? I've been watching clips of
over the weekend,
East and Malachi. What I always get his last name mixed up. There's so many Malachis that I'm familiar with. What's the Malachi? The receiver from Notre Dame, Malachi.
Oh, Fields. Malachi Fields.
I want to call him Richardson. I got this. I know
there's a Malachi Lawrence who was just drafted.
Right. We've had a lot of Malachis in both. Some of the Syracuse world and some of the I don't know. There's just too many Malachis in my mind. I just feel like I'm always going to say the last.
It doesn't seem like on the surface to be a common name. It's not John Paul Malachi. Right. Yet, however, it does feel that way.
So here's what I have to do. I learned this a long time ago, many years ago. You'll love this little story. Right? Okay. Sorry to deviate here, folks, but this is fun.
It's fine. Sure, yeah.
So many years ago, I was, and this is when I was a young man. I mean, I was in my 20s, and there were, back in those days, BG. We don't see it much anymore, but I'm sure you've kind of probably, at least in the nostalgia world, have caught wind of it. Hopefully, you have. They used to have these people on TV. All right. Mm-hmm. You certainly know what the Ginsu knife is, right?
No, that sounds sort of familiar.
Oh my God. Okay. Well.
Yes, the commercials. Yes,
it's the Ginsu knife. It does everything. Look, it'll cut through steel. I mean, whatever. They just
the can, right? I know what you're talking about. Yes.
The Ginsu knives are so damn sharp that if you're not using them to cut your fruit and vegetables, you don't know what the heck you're doing. And they used to have it on.
I remember. Yes.
These are infomercials. There still are infomercials on today. Sure. But back then, the infomercials were these very aggressive, very okay, slice it, dice it. Look at it. Unbelievable demonstrations. And you just be like, whoa, I got to get that. Oh, bro, that is the greatest knife set I've ever seen in my life. Look at this. One that does this. There's one that does this. Yeah. So there were also a string of individuals. Now you wouldn't need this today because you have the internet, you have YouTube, you have everywhere else where you can do this stuff. All right. We see it with apps, even people creating apps. But back in the day, all right, there would be, again, late night, these people that would be able to offer you skills, like, how to be the greatest leader ever, how to do this. Right. Well, there was a guy out there. No idea what his name is, but he got me one day. He just got me. I was going through a period, I was going through a time where I felt like I need to do this better. And then this guy had all the answers. He's on late night TV and he's just brainwashing me. And in 1 week you'll be this, and in 3 weeks you'll be this, and in 6 months you'll be the greatest guy ever. Right? All right. This guy, I wish I could remember his name. because I bought his entire cassette tape set, which came in like 3 booklets. I think it was like 30 cassette tapes, 2-sided.
Wow. Okay.
That's a lot of
Those are
stuff.
the days. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
And this guy's specialty
Okay.
was working on your memory. All right, making your memory better, how to remember things. Okay.
Okay.
And it was. I still remember small elements of it. I mean, I can't say that it really worked or in 6
Do you still
months.
have the cassette tapes?
I don't think so. I
Oh,
think
that would be a phenomenal
I
find.
know. Like the things that you wish you had hung on to,
Yeah.
that would be like absolute treasures these days.
Yeah,
You know,
that'd be
to
hilarious.
go back. I know this is the world we live in when you move. You know, and I've
Sure.
moved a few times in my life.
And people shed, right?
You know,
100%. You make business decisions.
I can't put this in the truck. Am I ever going to listen to these tapes again? So I did chuck them. It's possible that I might have sold them at a garage sale and that some other individual might have got them from me, because I paid. I don't remember what I paid, but I paid a lot of money for them. Like it wasn't like it was $20. You know?
Did you get your money back?
No, I didn't get my money back.
When you did the garage sale, I'm just saying.
Oh,
did you get...
God, no. I probably sold
Oh.
them for $2 or something. No. No, you don't sell anything at a garage sale above like $5 unless it's like, a piece of lawn gear
Right, or a
tool
TV or something. Yeah,
Yeah, or a
right.
TV. All right. So anyway, I unloaded them on someone, or I just threw them away. I wish I could remember, but it was.
But he said he could help you with memory. So go ahead.
Correct.
All
Right. So take this back to the Malachi Fields situation. I'm struggling with Malachi's last name and connecting his first name and his last name. This is just Lurch's brain, not.
Yeah.
Like,
The synapses aren't firing.
Right.
Yep.
I want the synapses to connect. Sometimes they connect really well. I always tell my students in the college classrooms that I teach in that I am a very good spatial learner. So I am teaching 4 to 5 classes per semester.
Yep.
Do the math. If there's 20 people in each class, that's 100 students. Okay. Whose names I'm trying to learn over the course of the first month of the semester, and then be able to retain them for the rest of the semester.
Right,
I mean,
sure.
that's kind of normal business for any of you teachers out there.
I would assume so.
And I tell my students, like, all right, just, 100 names. Okay. But it'll really help me if once you kind of settle into the room. I'm not saying, you get be married, to a chair in the room. But if you generally sit in the same area or in the same particular chair, I guarantee you I will learn your name quicker, because I am a good spatial learner. When I looking at that's Johnny who sits over there. Katie always sits over here. Phil sits in the middle. This guy always sits up front, like a poop, 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 poop. It just connects. Also, there are crazy things like you got crazy hair, you're like you got a big beard. Like, come on, how many people have a big beard like you? They're going to be sitting in the class.
Not many. Yeah.
Probably not many. So you're going to be easy for me, There's characteristics that sometimes stand up. And then you always have 4 or 5 people that kind of like, oh, they all have brown hair, brown eyes, they kind of have the same kind of, Lord. And if they start moving around your history, it's like 3 months to learn their names. And you're always like, yeah, you go ahead. You're just pointing at them,
Hey, man, buddy.
Yes. What do you have, sir? What do you have, ma'am?
Yes, you in the back.
Right. Crazy. Anyway, back to the whole tapes and everything. Where did we go with this in Malachi Fields? So one of the things that the memory tapes, the remembering tapes, this was developing your memory to make yourself an outstanding,
memorizer
who can retain things. Okay. And I've never been able to do that. I've always just stunk at memerizing stuff. Right.
So this was like a golden light when you were watching the commercial.
This
like
came on at midnight or 1 in the morning. I was like, yes.
Because when they do this in those commercials, they go, hey, you, me? Yeah, you. Do you suck at remembering stuff? I do. Well, do I have to think for you?
Yes, that's exactly it. And I was like, everything this guy says is me. My God, he's speaking to me. It's like the Lord above has come down and has told me, this is the way you do it, Lurch. You want a good memory? Get these tapes. Buy them now for $112.99, and then normally $450. Like that. Always, it was always some crazy.
And 34 payments of
$456. But today only, for the next 10 minutes, they're $99.99. That's right, under $100. $99.99.
Urgency.
You pay like $20 in shipping, and by the time you're done, you're paying $150.
Okay.
Anyway,
so you get these tapes. Okay.
I get these tapes, and I start listening to them. Of course, this is what I paid for to develop my memory. And one of the things that I do remember, one of the few things I remember from these, dozens of tapes that I listened to all these years ago, was the idea that's with names. A great way to try to recall names is to put the picture of other people whose names you know emphatically into your mind when you think of that person. Okay. So here's here's and this actually is very, very good, because I told you many years ago. I've talked about this on the radio show for years, that you don't have to do it anymore, and I'm glad I don't. But back in the day, among my friends, I was known as the guy that always remembered everybody's phone number. And the
I
way
used
that
to
I
remember
did it,
phone
all right, I
numbers.
told you how I did this, right? What I would do is I would just remember the prefix,
Sports,
468, and then the last 4 digits. It's always 4 digits. Phone numbers are 7 digits long if you don't include the area code. I know all my friends lived in the same neighborhood, so we all had the same area code. All right. It's 4 digits. So I would always I was, of course, very sports IQ, high IQ, like I still am today. And I knew the numbers of tons of players. I always just paid attention to who wore what number.
Yeah.
Long story short, so it would be like 468, Pepper Johnson, Lawrence Taylor,
Right.
And I would know what the numbers were. Boop, 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 boop. Jim Burt, it's all Giants or Mets or
sure.
Knicks, just guys that I knew very, very handily. And I could just say, oh, yeah, that's Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing, 34, 33. It was just easy. All right. So I was just really, really good with sports numbers. And so I incorporated into memorizing phone numbers. All right. Back to my tapes. Sorry, this is going in 12 directions.
No, that's okay.
So
pictures
here, folks, all right?
Yeah, but that's okay. But pictures of people you know. So you
pictures
explain
of
that one to me.
people you know. So here's a perfect example for Malachi Fields, right? I've been struggling. He's only been with us a short period of time. Maybe eventually it'll sink in, but it's going to take me too damn long. So let me figure out how I can get it in there now so I can move on to someone else. All right, because Malachi Fields is here to stay. He's going to be a Giant, and I'm probably going to be talking about him all season. I don't want to be fumbling through his name all season long.
Of course.
So the memory tape said, associated again with 2 people that you know. When you do this, however, sir, okay, when you do this, ma'am, all right, you need to close your eyes and picture the face of the person and the person, okay? So Malachi Fields, right? I can't seem to get the synapses to connect, okay?
Okay.
So who's a Malachi that I know? Malachi Richardson played for a long time for Syracuse basketball. Had the big shot against Virginia, right? In the to get him to the Final Four, right? In the Sweet 16. Remember, we were at that crazy bar, right? We had
David Buster's
house, right? Boy Green and I standing right next to each other. People going bananas. Syracuse trying to make another run to the Final Four.
Great memory.
We'll never forget that night, right? That night is emblazoned in my mind. Right. Sure. And so is that crazy step back shot that Malachi Richardson
the 3 goggles.
Right. Yeah. With the 3 goggles, right? One of the classic shots, probably got him into the pros. I mean, it was just a pro level shot on national TV, and they were like, hey, that guy's good. Never really made it in the pros.
No,
but he got a cup of coffee. So Malachi Richardson, very easy name for me to remember. All right. Okay. And you've just mentioned him a few minutes ago. Justin Fields. How many times?
Oh, so split the name.
Right.
So
here's a picture of, so I'm closing my eyes. Malachi Richardson. I'm thinking of Malachi Richardson. Ooh, now in my right eye, I'm thinking of Justin Fields. Justin Fields. Justin Fields. Now I'm going to connect Malachi Fields. Malachi Fields. Malachi Fields. Boom. And now I'm going to bring those 2 things together. Let's see. Now, a week from now, we talk about it again. His name will probably come up. Let's see if I've got it.
But you said this did work.
It did work.
This previously.
Yeah, this was a great way. And if you think about it, it's very similar to the thing I made up on my own for phone numbers, thinking of jersey numbers of players that I knew, all right, that were on my teams in New York, all right, and sometimes even other teams too. I just like jersey numbers back when I was a kid. I used to have baseball cards and football cards, and I used to like the numbers. Oh, he wears 51, he wears 2, he wears 7. And receivers always wore stuff in the 80s, so football always has that nice kind of like easy to find guys on the field. Yeah, now it's nuts right now. You could wear number 1 and be a defensive lineman. But it wasn't that way.
Right.
Back in the day, you were assigned, the hog mollies were always in the 60s.
We're within this range or this range. Right.
He was in a very, very distinct range. And that made it a lot easier. It'd probably be a little harder these days. But that worked for me. I was able to memorize phone numbers very, very easily. So this kind of has the same elements. Picture this guy, put the 2 things together. Bingo. Now, those 2 pictures are now Malachi Fields. Those 2 pictures now become Malachi Fields. Every time you see Malachi Fields, you're going to think of those 2 pictures. You're going to remember those 2 names because you have those already in your memory. So it's like using your current memory to enhance your future memory so that you lock into things, and those synapses now, come right together.
I've never thought about that. I'm going to have to try that now to see if that can work. But no, this conversation came up because back in the day, you had to remember phone numbers. I didn't have like a contact list. You just like, I'd be at the school and I need to call my mom. I actually still remember my mom's phone number from back in the day in my head because I had to call it. Can I use the phone? Yeah, sure you can. Okay, what's a number? Oh, it's a 843-324-2116. That's the first time I've said those words in 25 years, that combination, but somehow it's still there. My
Yeah.
mother, if she's watching, can confirm that phone number is true. Like, that's crazy. But like nowadays, we just hit a button. Hey, call Lurch. Hey, call Jeff. Hey, call Bob. Your Alexas or Siris or whatever it is. Like, I don't think about phone numbers anymore. There is zero in my mind space. I still remember my father's phone number in there. So like I have those, but like nowadays, I just press a button. So there's something at work where someone has to import me 15 to 25 numbers of other people I'm now working with. And he said, yeah, I just remember. I'm like, good for you, pal. I don't remember them anymore. I don't use that anymore. What else was in the tapes, Lurch? So, okay, that's good. That's a good
I don't
technique.
remember, to be honest with you. Listen,
Okay.
honestly, I don't remember much more. Like that's amazing that this.
So was that worth it then? That
Oh,
technique?
God, no, sure it wasn't. And now I have another confession to make real quick.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
I said earlier, I think this is the only set of tapes I've ever gotten. Not true.
Yeah.
I did,
Okay.
although these interestingly, I got at a garage sale. So many years later, there was also an infomercial on for years and years, and people my age will certainly remember. It was speed reading. Okay, and they'd have this. I wish I had a book nearby. I don't have any. I'm at my desk here, but I don't have any books within a reach. But the person would be flipping. You just go. This was the infomercials. John Smith is the fastest speed reader in the history of mankind. He set Guinness Book of World Records. And you see him like, he's just his fingers going up and down each page, and like he's going through a novel in 10 minutes. You're like, damn, man. I could read like that. Imagine how good I could be as a student. Imagine how good I could be like if I wanted to read something and I could read multiple books, like the power of reading, right? We've all dreamt of being these vociferous readers, and reading is very powerful. It really is.
Sure. I enjoy reading. Yeah.
My problem is the time to do it, right?
Yeah, I wish I had more time.
So, I mean, like, I can get away with a little bit of it in the summer. I try to do a quote summer reading list, and I swear if I get to a third of it, I'm lucky, So like, I don't have the bug. I wish I had the bug, but other people do, I'm sure. So it was speed reading, and then they were like, "We'll teach you the techniques to read faster than anyone around you."
Wait, let me. I think we have it. I'm going to be able to play a small slice of it. Okay, so here's a small slice of it. I don't know how much of this is going to play, but speed reading. This is from a late night infomercial.
Yeah. Oh my
God.
Here
we go.
How much money they made? Like, the amount of money that was made by these people to do these things, they made millions.
Okay, so let's see how much this gives us here. So, okay.
Unbelievable. Howard Berg, the world's fastest reader in the Guinness Book of Records, demonstrates his mega reading technique on national TV.
And you read this. You read this. Anybody who gets this course from yours can do what you just did. You already have the ability. I'm just showing you how to release it.
Now, unlock your natural ability to quadruple your reading speed and remember everything you read with the amazing Mega Reading Home Study Course.
I highly endorse and recommend this program. Howard is the world's fastest reader. There's nothing out there like it anywhere in the world. It'll work for anyone about 8 to 10 years and up. If you have a student in your life, you need to get it for them. If you're in business, if you read papers, if you like to read novels, you'll learn this information, you'll read it quickly, and you'll be able to recall it.
The amazing Mega Reading technology turns your eyes into a wide-angle camera so you can virtually photograph pages as fast as you can turn them. Imagine how much time you'll save when you read books, magazines, and newspapers in a fraction of the time. For business, school, or pleasure, anyone can release their super mega reading ability.
The former president of Evelyn Wood asked me to train his family. Now, this is a man who knows speed reading.
Mega reading is so powerful, it's even been endorsed by Maurice Thompson Jr., former president of Evelyn Wood.
His son quadrupled. I think he went from 2 to 860 words a minute in less than 4 hours.
Anyone can learn the amazing mega reading secrets of the world's fastest reader. There's nothing else like it. In less than 4 hours, you'll become a mega reader too.
Folks, you heard this. You can call right now, get Howard's program. It takes just a few short hours. It's easy. It's fun. Anybody can do it. You'll be the greatest conversationalist. Kids get straight A's with less study time. You'll make more money in business because you'll be able to remember all the information.
Don't be left behind. Unlock your natural ability to quadruple your reading speed. Call the number on your screen and order Mega Reading. It really works. Not available in stores. Money back if you aren't astounded. Call now.
Money back if you aren't astounded. What in the world? Like, I'm just seeing the guy going...
You'll have
There's
the
no
money back
way.
guarantee, which no
Okay.
one of course ever returned them. I bought the mega speed reading package at a garage sale. I don't know,
Oh,
probably
so you were the guy, you just said it,
was-
Lurch, when
yep.
you did the yard sale and you're like, "Ah, damn it, I'm selling this off for like 5
Mhm.
cents on the dollar. This sucks."
Exactly.
And then eventually on another infomercial, you were the guy who benefited from this.
Yep. I'm sure I paid like $2 or $3 for the entire
Okay,
set. I had
nice.
all the cassettes. They're all in these booklets. I was like, all right, let's do it. And then I tried mega speed reading. Yeah, that really worked. I was, I don't think I increased my reading speed at all.
Did it slow down your reading?
Slowed it down. I don't think it changed it at all, but I tried it. So
But what is this guy? Like, what was he doing? What is the hand waving tech? Like when I just when he started talking about, I'm like, I wonder if I can quickly find the infomercial.
I'll tell you what,
and
again,
he just showed
it's
that.
funny the tiny things that you remember from these things. Like I have that memory of how to remember someone's name, use two people that
Yeah.
you know, right? I just talked about that technique. That was one of the techniques they talked about in the memory thing. In the speed reading thing, the only thing I remember about it is because I was, you see him, he's just, what is he doing? What's with the hand, right? The idea was, this is what I remember about it when I was
Okay.
trying to learn it, was
Alright.
that you use your hand to go over, say, like 3 lines of copy, and what you're supposed to be doing with your eyes, all right, is just picking out key words. So you skip the uhs and the thes and the is's and the r's and all the small ones, and you just hit on the words, the more meaningful words. And there's supposedly a technique to spot them. So they try to teach you this technique. And then you use the scanning technique to grab out of those 3 lines of copy, maybe 4 or 5 words, and then another 4 or 5 words out of the next one. And supposedly, by getting those keywords, your mind is able to put the rest of the pieces back together.
Interesting. Wow.
Imagine how, like, again, a good example is there's probably some truth to it. I mean, come on, the idea that everybody can do it and you'll be 4 times as fast.
You immediately make more money at your job. You
like
immediately
we all dream of like reading like Howard there, right? Who's just like
Sure.
like the fastest reader in the world. Like I want to be that guy, And like the idea too was like, all right. So, but do you retain anything? And the whole thought was, you retain everything. You retain it better. You're now better at retention. Like what? Come on, you're reading it that fast and you're better at retention. That makes sense. Sometimes I'm reading something, I got to read it over 4 times to get it,
Right.
if it's put together in a certain way. And you got to tell me I can just scan through it and I'll get it better than the guy who reads it 4 times over because they didn't get it the first time or the second or the third.
Yeah.
But anyway, these were the infomercials of the times back in those days.
Oh, what was the thing on the technique you said? You were going there.
So the technique, right, was to just find these keywords and then
Okay.
just pluck those, and then through
Your
that, your brain would literally meld the sentences together, and you'd get the general gist.
And did that work for you at all?
I'm not any better than I was yesterday. That's
So
what I
was
can-
that guy a scam
Yeah,
artist, or did
listen,
it work for
dedicated enough.
him?
I don't know.
Okay, was that guy that was doing all the whatever his name is? What's his name? I guess.
Howard Berg? But then
yeah,
Kevin
yeah,
Trudeau
yeah.
is the salesman there. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
As a matter of fact, Grove.
Howard Berg, world's
yeah, Howard
fastest
Berg, yeah,
reader,
world's
Guinness
fastest.
Book of World Records. Okay, so him, as he's doing the hand technique, so is he just full of crap, or is he is it working for him? Like
It's an
he is,
infomercial. Like who the heck knows? I mean, I do think that he actually did have the title through the Guinness at the time. The Guinness Book of World Records is the fastest reader. Now,
but who confirms
you-
it? Does he take like
how
a
do you
book report
how
after?
do you measure that? Right? I guess so. I guess you got to take a test. Who knows how they would do that? But But anyway, yeah, Kevin Trudeau, by the way, that's not the
okay.
correct spelling, but we get the point. Biggest scam artist on TV. So,
who is
a
that
lot
guy?
of these guys who are the hosts of these things, there's Trudeau. He
Okay.
was on all kinds of infomercials for many, many years. So he is
I don't
not
know
new-
anything about him.
new to the world at all. He's another one of those, like a guy there was a guy who started on the original Shark Tank. I don't think he was necessarily a scam artist, but he did the as seen on TV commercials, and he was one of the hosts, right? I'm forgetting his name now, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're getting on this whole sidetrack of this infomercial world, but yeah, Trudeau and a lot of these people are not exactly people that you have a high level of trust, because they're making these inflated promises of things, and they're out there. Their job is one thing and one thing only: to sell things to suckers like me.
Sell.
To get Lurch to go to his phone and say, you know what, that's a hell of a bargain for $99.99. I could part with that $100 right now, because normally it's $500, and I'm getting it for $100 because I'm doing it right now, and I'm going to be the greatest memory person in the history of mankind, and my memory is going to be, I'm going to retain everything. So
I don't know if most places have this. I can't remember if it's at our mall we have here, or was I on the road in Pittsburgh or something? Where was I somewhere else? I had never seen this before recently, somewhere in the last year. I stumbled upon a store that was the as seen on TV store. And anything that had ever been as seen on TV of the last 50 years was in this store, and it all ended up here. And I was going through it, and there was like basically I didn't see Speed Reader in there, but like there's and I'm like, oh my, I remember this. Oh my God, there's this. And it was one of two things. Either, oh my goodness, isn't this an amazing sort of, capturing of history, or wow, none of these worked and they had to end up somewhere. So they made a store to sell everything that didn't work.
Right.
So I wasn't sure which one it was, but nonetheless, I did just run into that store somewhere in the last year. Again, it could have been here locally, but I've been doing some random traveling. It could have been at a different store, and I ran into it and went, wow, what in the world is this?
We're getting all kinds of comments in on this. Some good ones here. Teddy Roosevelt used to devour books. He was a fast reader. Thank you.
There you go.
Cute
Jet fan.
Love that.
Yeah.
Also, Kyuka's coming in with Walgreens has an as seen on TV.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Boy Green, I think, I don't know. I haven't been shopping at the mall in a while, but the Destiny USA Mall, which is right here in Central New York. And they had a store on the second floor that was all as seen on TV products.
Oh, so maybe that's what I'm thinking.
That's where you saw it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it went all the way back to the crazy speed reading stuff, although those are infomercials, not as seen on TV. There is a difference between that. As seen on TV is the tape that you could tape the boat together with.
Oh, you're talking about Billy Mays. Here, look.
Flex Seal.
The boat is sliced in half. Although your reader, I just saw that on there. This speed reader has a big stamp on it as seen on TV. So I don't know if there's a difference between those. But yes, Billy Mays had the, here's a chainsaw. I'm going to slice this boat in half right now. And you're like, oh, wow, 2 pieces. But look at this.
Spray it with Flex Seal and watch it. It still floats. And Billy's out there.
And it shows him on the boat on the water.
Yeah, he's out there cruising.
I don't know. They do the thing with the Billy Mays had that one with the bucket, and then there's like, a gaping hole of water gushing out, and he's like, oh, Flex Seal tape. And he slaps on the side. Look, the water stops immediately. Yeah, I just crazy world we used to live in.
Yeah. All right. One more from Kyuka Jet Fan, because this one brings back another great memory. I prefer the ShamWow guy to beat up the hooker for trying to bite his D off. All right.
What?
I'm not sure exactly what.
I remember the ShamWow guy. ShamWow, look at this. It cleans up this, cleans up this. I remember that guy. I didn't remember that last part, but
yeah, if you remember, right? Oh gosh, let me make sure. Oh yeah, it was Rich. Rich Guzzi.
Yeah.
Right.
The comedy hypnotist.
Comedy hypnotist.
Yeah.
Remember, he used to, before he does the hypnotism, he kind of warms up the crowd a little bit with some jokes. Yeah. And one of his jokes was about the ShamWow. Okay, which is a chamois.
It's called something else.
Yeah, he calls it the Jizz Wow, right? And he goes a whole different direction with it. But he does a whole joke around the ShamWow, which is a chamois that you could use supposedly to dry your whole car, and it would soak up all the moisture, and you'd never have to wring it out. So crazy mad world we're in today. Sorry, folks. I didn't expect to go in that direction. That's just.
But hey, that's what the show's about. Sometimes it goes in different directions, like this, the direction of gifting.
Hey,
look at this from our number one Austrian Jets fan.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm going to add in while you're doing that. I'll jump over into I'm not running our scrolling ticker yet. I'll jump into the scrolling ticker and edit that.
Yeah, I got the scrolling ticker alert. You do the video. Play a video.
Oh, okay. All right. You do you're faster typer than me anyway. You're way faster. All right. Let's give Austrian a nice video for his generous contribution. Again, it's our monthly raffle, folks, right now, where every gifted membership is worth 2 raffle tickets. If you do 5 or more, we'll up it to 20. So we'll double the tickets once you hit 5. It would normally be 10. We'll give you 20. All right. And if you're not already a member, become a member yourself. It's 2 memberships. And if you just want to do a super chat or a super sticker, for every $3 you donate to the channel, we'll give you a raffle ticket. All right. And the tote board, as they say, no longer heavy. Boy Green has already updated it and added a couple to Austrian.
24 raffle tickets.
I think is at the top of the board right now. So
he is 24
in the crowd. And again, this month's prizes, we can get them up and show you in a second. But let me play video first, Boy Green. But it is 2 Jim Boeheim life-size posters. All right. And the lovely 12th MC laser engraved pint glass. All right. Going out the door to our winner this month. All right. Here, let me get a video here for Austrian. Now, what haven't we done in a while? How about this one?
I got the shakes that'll make you quake. I got the fries that'll cross your eyes. I got the burgers that'll... I just got burgers.
Thank you, Terry Crews. That's the longest yard. We haven't played that one in a long time.
Yeah,
Austrian Jet Fan is up to 24 raffle tickets. T-Town Jet is at 22, and then Jamie the FedEx Guy and Zay Engineer at 20 a piece. So phenomenal. So thank you, Austrian. Let me look real quick, get that on the phone real quick of who that membership went out to in the audience. Lurch, while I'm setting that up, can we play the videos? Can you set that up? And I see other memberships are being gifted. We'll get that in a second. Can you show people what they could be winning?
Yeah. All right, I'll go over. Yep, I'll do that while you're posting that. All right, This is the great thing about having a double hosted show is that you can, you can multitask. All right, so 2 Jim Boeheim life-size posters. I'll show them both to you right now. Take a listen. All right, and this is the first Jim Boeheim life-size poster. Again, tight shot of Boeheim, people on the bench. You got an official in the shot there. And like I said, it's made of this like nice vinyl material. So you can see it really, really well. I mean, it was hanging in the studio, so it's, not in perfect, pristine condition, but it absolutely looks awesome on a wall. Or someone could even take this thing and get it framed into a big frame and have it cut properly to fit a frame. So very cool item. I'll show you the second one in just a second. All right, here's number 2. All right, and here's the second poster. This one is a close-up of Jim Boeheim, obviously in his suit and tie. Really, really nice quality. By the way, both of the posters roughly 46 inches wide by about 56 inches from top to bottom. So both in really nice shape. And again, both this vinyl. So it's a really, really, this is going to, it's really, really durable. There are a few holes along the edges for where we had them tacked in the studio. But outside of that, they're really, really in good shape, especially this poster. Really nice. Had those posters for over 20 years, and they're still in perfect condition. They're never going to, it's not like a poster that's going to wrinkle or it's going to fade. They're not going to fade. They're not going to wrinkle.
The shot looks great. Like looking at the camera, just looking from our face to camera of obviously what was recording. Man, it looks like vivid. It looks like those continue to stand the test. And T-Town Jet refuses to be outdone. He answers with one of these.
House.
Hell yeah.
And the video for him as well.
Yes, please.
Hit it.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
What?
Ooh, baby. Yeah, that one hurts.
Vicious. Which, by the way, also vicious is T-Town Jet now tying Austrian Jet Fan atop the leaderboard again.
Hey.
They each have 24 raffle tickets. We'll see if we could get a competition going on here. By the way, here are where those memberships went to, being gifted. Austrian Jet Fan gifted his membership to Chubb for Club. It used to be, it used to be Tank for Tie, and now he's all aboard the Cade Klubnik train.
Okay.
Which, by the way, Cade Klubnik actually has created some buzz over the weekend. And the T-Town Jets gifted membership went to New York Jets Smoking Lounge. Another Jet fan getting a membership out in the audience to the 12th Manchild. Great to have you guys a part of this, and thank you. Again, we only got another 11 days, Lurch. That's actually my dad's birthday as well, May 22nd. So 11 days left. So make sure you guys get these gifting in during our live shows, which we do at least twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. But we also have 2 more Survivor shows. We have the penultimate episode this Wednesday and then the season finale next Wednesday night. So those will be 2 other opportunities potentially to gift memberships on top of our weekly live shows.
Wow. And so we're actually drawing on your dad's birthday, his real birthday.
We are, May 22nd.
It's May 22nd. Wow,
May 22nd, 1968. There you go.
Well, for those of you in the Esden family out there, you get in on this, you can win this Pops. Yeah. Pops, he's got some man cave type places.
He does, definitely.
Various locales. Maybe he'd like a little Boeheim action. By the way, that first poster, you can't see it in the video. I was trying to get in there. And I was like,
the autograph?
Different, but that first one of Boeheim where the official is in there towards the bench side there, in between the bench and Boeheim, it's actually autographed by Jim Boeheim. It's fading a bit. Cool. That's the one thing that did fade. The picture hasn't faded, but the autograph did fade a bit. Jim Boeheim autographed it to Bud, and it says, "Bud, I'll be watching you!" ! Jim Boeheim. So it actually says that. He wrote that to my partner because, like I said, that is a piece of history. Both of those posters are a piece of history. They were hanging in our studios for 20 some odd years. So, they took in a lot of history in sports radio, all the many things that we covered over the years, so on and so forth. They were just sitting on the walls there, just looking at us, taking it all in. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Studio items coming.
So enjoy the history. The radio show was on air for 25 years. I mean, that's just a very, very long time to see a lot of cool, different stuff. So hopefully people get a real kick out of it. To me, I think that Boeheim's cool. The autograph is cool. Jim Boeheim's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. All that's cool. To me, having a piece of that radio history, which again is only sort of down to a couple of items. I continue to be in the radio booth doing Syracuse Mets stuff, and I run into the bosses every once in a while. I open the door and go, "Oh boy, it's like Barron in here." I'm like, "Yeah, like all the stuff was mine or Lurch's." So yeah, there's nothing else in here. So that's sort of sad in one way, but it is cool that we're gifting these items out to the universe, Lurch, and all these people are getting a slice of that historic radio show.
Absolutely. Very, very cool. Hey, a couple of quick news and notes. If I don't get them out now, I'll forget all about them.
Okay,
so let me do it while they're on my mind. First of all, folks that watch the show here on the digital world and have listened to us back in the radio days know that when we get to each of the golf majors, we spend an interview, a half hour, talking with a guy who lives here locally, who I met many, many years ago. He's a member of the Greater Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame. He played on both the PGA Tour and the Senior PGA Tour. His name is Jim Roy. Jim, we call him our golfing aficionado, our golfer extraordinaire. All right. And he breaks down the majors with us every year. This is a guy that played with Arnold Palmer, played with Jack Nicklaus, played with Gary Player. Like, he rubbed elbows with these guys when he was younger. And his son, Kevin Roy, is currently a member of the PGA Tour. So he has two fantastic sons. They both were incredible local golfers. But Kevin Roy, his older son, I'm pretty sure, Kyle's his younger son, recently, or I should say in the last 5 years or so, maybe a little more than that, decided he was going to pursue trying to make it on the PGA Tour. And so he went on the mini tours and then made it to the main mini tour, which has changed names so many times I'm not even going to try. All right. And then finally, a couple of years ago, became a PGA Tour member. He accumulated enough points on the smaller tours, all right, the minor league tour, so to speak, to make it to the pros, to the PGA. And so he's a current member of the PGA Tour. There were two tournaments this weekend, Boy Green. There are some rare occasions during the course of the schedule where there are two tournaments going on at the same time. Well, Kevin was playing in, we'll call it the lesser of the two tournaments because the purse was a little bit smaller. All right. There was one called the Truist Championship. That was the one that if you were watching regular network TV, you would have seen this weekend. All right. I don't know who won that tournament, but, there were some names in there. Rory McIlroy was competing in it. There were some names, big name people in it. All right. And then there was a tournament down in Myrtle Beach called the Myrtle Beach Classic, which is going on at the same time. And there was still some names in it, but not at the same level as the higher one. But sometimes when you're a Kevin Roy, even if you're a member of the PGA Tour, you don't get into every single event on the PGA Tour. You get into most of them, all right?
Right.
You have the PGA Tour card, but then you have to get to another level, all right, in order to get to what they call the big events. They call them the featured events or something. They have a name for them these days. The PGA Tour has changed their rules over the years quite a bit, and especially recently. But Kevin was playing in the lesser tournament. He finished in tied for third in this tournament.
Wow.
He was two, I think, at the way it ended, either 2 or 3 shots back from winning the tournament. Okay. He played phenomenally all weekend. If he had just had a really good day on Sunday, he could have won the tournament. He still had a solid day on Sunday, but he did not have an outstanding day and had an unfortunate double bogey. But I was literally kind of watching him while I was doing other things over the weekend, shot by shot, because it was on Golf Channel. I don't have a subscription to Golf Channel, so I couldn't watch him. You could have watched it live if you were watching it on Golf Channel and seen plenty of Kevin Roy, because he was in the second or third group from the last. So he was, he was in it the whole weekend. He was, I think, at one point in second place in the tournament. He was right there, up there from the very first round. So congratulations to Kevin, who again got himself probably another nice paycheck, and just continues to he's this close, BG, to winning one.
So cool.
He's so close to winning one. And he has been in the mix now a good handful of times on Sunday. And you got to believe, okay, while he didn't have an outstanding round yesterday, like I said, he had a very solid round. Some other guys had outstanding rounds, and one of them was the one who won the tournament.
Yeah.
Right? But he's had some falters also on Sunday where he hasn't shown up as he did the first 3 days of the tournament. It feels to me like he's learning. Like, there's this thing that's happening. You've been in it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and suddenly you start to learn what you have to do on Sunday and how you can't let that pressure of now the tournament's on the line, every shot matters, be the thing that decides whether you're going to do well or not. Because we all know many of us can relate to this, even in amateur athletics, that kind of pressure gets put on you, and sometimes you falter. Sometimes you just don't live up to it. Sometimes your opponent is just a little bit better that day than you, and part of it is that mental thing. And I think it feels to me, Kevin has been playing very, very solid golf for quite a while on the PGA Tour against the best in the world. He seems like he's starting to figure out weekend golf and how to not just compete in the first round or the second round, or shoot something in the mid to low 60s from time to time, which he's done several times, by the way, already on the PGA Tour. It's putting 4 rounds together, and by the way, putting the best ones together on the weekend when it matters. And it's
good for him.
Starting to get there for him. So I just want to congratulate Kevin, who's a good friend of ours and good friend of the show. We had him on the show very early.
We did.
We went to the world. If he wins, we'll definitely have him on again for sure. He'll come on with us.
But
he's a great, great guy, but you should be rooting for him. He's in his late 30s. I think he's like 38, 39 years old. He's been grinding for a while. Like, just to get one would be unbelievable. So
hey, some people never get to the level that he's currently at right now in this moment in time. So the fact that he's I hope he gets it.
Incredible.
Hope he gets it. I'm sure that'd be awesome for his dad. I'm sure that'd be awesome for him. A special moment that they could share forever. So that's amazing.
So keep your eye out for the name Kevin Roy. You'll see it on leaderboards from time to time. He's been up there in not just in these tertiary tournaments, in the big ones. He's been in some, he's been in some regular tour events and been on the leaderboard going into the weekend. So hopefully he can just get one of those Sundays, one of those magical Sundays, boom, and then you drop your first win. And a lot of guys, when they get that first win, it does something to them. A light switch goes off. Something happens, and then before you know it, they have a second and a third win, and they are multiple winners on the PGA.
When it rains, it pours.
And now you're writing your ticket for life. But look, Kevin has a great life. He's doing phenomenal. Playing on the PGA Tour,
making good money. I'm sure
making good money. You finish up there, you make good money. But cost of traveling and everything are not inexpensive either. So I'm sure it hasn't been an easy life for Kevin, but he's so close to making it a really enjoyable life, making it a life where you don't have to worry about, paying your next tournament fee or anything like that. So Kevin's really, really doing good yeoman's work. He works incredibly hard, and he's one of the nicest young men you'll ever meet. So root for Kevin when you get the opportunity. He's a good guy and a friend of the program. So just wanted to put that out there. All right. The other thing we got to talk about today, BG, is the Knicks and the NBA playoffs. I mean, come on.
See, we waited 51 minutes. Credit to you, Lurch, for waiting 51 minutes before pelvic thrusting in any general direction.
Sure. I get it. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and I do want to talk about Odell and Harbaugh and some of that other stuff as well. But just to quickly at least get a piece of the Knicks story here, an absolute devastation of the Philadelphia 76ers, to put it mildly. Let's not forget that this is a Sixers team that just knocked out the Celtics. All right. So, you could say whatever you want. Oh, Philly doesn't work good during the regular season, and they're so banged up. Well, that banged up, vagabond guys just beat the Celtics, so everybody had winning the East, including myself. So you can't just sell off the Sixers just because they're not the Oklahoma City Thunder. I understand they're not the Thunder. We'll get to them later. Okay. But the fact of the matter is that they're a pretty good basketball team in the playoffs this year, and the Knicks took them apart. I mean, the Knicks have figured out something offensively here that it doesn't seem like they had figured out all season long. And whatever it is, it's working. Karl Anthony Towns is playing at as high a level as he's ever played for the Knicks. He is doing things that he never normally did, especially, throwing passes to guys and being the assist guy. Kind of, dare I say, taking a little bit out of the page of Nikola Jokic. All right, who can do it all. He was just a triple-double machine, right? Still is these days. Well, Towns isn't quite Jokic level, but he's doing Jokic-like things with his passing, standing at the top of the key, distributing, finding cutters, making threes himself because they're slacking off him because he's passing so well, and did a heck of a job defensively on a guy that, albeit I understand he has not been healthy, but Joel Embiid, when on the court, is one of the best centers in basketball. You could even argue that he's close to the best center. I'm sure Wembanyama is about to have something to say about that these days, but, for quite a while, he's been the best center in basketball, and Karl Towns defended him extremely well, and the Knicks looked extremely good in this. They set records in the game yesterday, tied the most threes in a quarter in the first quarter yesterday, all right? Most threes and a half. Okay, they did that as well yesterday. And then I saw a stat. I don't have it in front of me, so I'll kind of ham and egg in it here a little bit. But their victory margin in this.
Yes. I've seen some of the stats. Let me see if I can get
games or something is larger than any team in the history of the basketball playoffs. So they have done something that the great Lakers teams haven't done and the great Bulls teams haven't done. And their annihilation of opponents is off the scales in terms of what they've been able to do. So the point differential over the course of X amount of games, all right, has been off the chart. So the Knicks are playing phenomenal basketball. I think they've won 7 games in a row now in the playoffs, so they have turned it on. Of course, OKC hasn't even lost a game so far in this year's playoffs. So they're going to have something to say about all of this, if indeed these two teams are the two that meet in the NBA Finals. And what's really important for us Knicks fans here is that this team, number one, wasn't physically, I don't feel, put to a massive test in this series because it just didn't. Well, there were physical moments in the series. It didn't have the feel of some of the physical series we've seen in recent years in the playoffs for the Knicks, where Brunson was just getting knocked around like a ping pong ball. All right. He got hit. Guys got hit. There were some physical games, but it wasn't a physical series from beginning to end, and it's only 4 games. And now the Knicks get to lay in the Barca lounger, so to speak, get in the hammock, go to the therapists, okay, stretch it out, massage it out. They're going to get to rest for what is likely going to be close to a week, especially if this other series goes long. The Knicks may get a solid week off where they can get therapy. OG Anunoby's hamstring can be 100% and be ready to go for the conference finals, which all signs are pointing towards that, all right? And, they just get a well-rested machine here. And, by the way, they get to work on practice kind of quietly on the side on other little nuances and things that they can throw at their next opponent to make it that much more difficult. So I don't care who I get, the Cavaliers or the Pistons. I know you're going to ask me that in a minute. Which one do you want?
Actually,
no, I don't care.
I'll wait
I just
on
want
that.
to
I
go
have
to
other
the NBA
questions.
Finals. That's all I care about. I don't care who
Okay.
it is.
All right. I've got a bunch of questions. So here we go. When Tom Thibodeau was fired last year after getting to the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in a quarter century, before anyone was hired, we all said, well, I mean, the expectation is the line is drawn in the sand. Sure, the Knicks did that for the first time in 25 years, but if you're firing a guy and saying that's not good enough, you're bringing another guy in, well, we know where the line is set on what you need to do the next year, or it's a disappointment. Lurch, this can't be lost in the sauce here.
No.
I know you don't want to. This is a loser's mentality of like someone could interpret what I'm about to say in that realm, but I hope it doesn't get interpreted in that way. The Knicks hadn't been to the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years before last year. Now they've gone belly to belly, back to back Eastern Conference Finals. Who knows what else is going to happen beyond this? We could talk about that. But wow, that's going to hit you. Your Knicks on a lot of our radio days, Lurch, an unfortunate time that we were doing radio where they were terrible for a large chunk of the show's history. And now all of a sudden things seem to be churning and turning. So what do you make of the job that Mike Brown did? Because he had perhaps the greatest set of expectations that have been put on a coach that's immediately replacing a guy. The honeymoon was short and sweet, because now it's okay, cool, you're hired, but hey, look what Tom Thibodeau did. You need to do this. They're back in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Well, number one, Brown deserves a lot of credit. He's taken enough criticism. He was picked on for being the choice, and I wasn't thrilled with it. I wasn't like, oh, this is disgusting, gross, but I was like,
probably underwhelmed.
I get it. I'm a little underwhelmed. I mean, if you're going to fire a guy like Tibbs, who got them to a place that they hadn't been in a million years, then go get me my Pat Riley. Go get me. That's what I said when the hire was made is, I don't understand why the Knicks did this if they couldn't go get their Pat Riley, and I thought maybe the guy that he wouldn't be Pat Riley, but I felt that the best guy on the market at the time was Michael Malone. Remember, we talked about it extensively.
Yes.
I was like, why wouldn't you take a guy who just recently won a championship with Jokic in Denver, bring him to the Knicks. He's got the championship pedigree. It's very, very recent. Maybe he's the right guy for the job. But obviously the Knicks front office saw something different here. Maybe part of it was that whoever they did want, they weren't able to get because there were some candidates out there that it just didn't work out, or maybe the discussions never got to the point where the Knicks had hoped. But it certainly seemed like Mike Brown was always on their radar. And then if you really go back and look at what Brown has done, okay, when I went back and we finally made the hire and you and I started talking about it regularly on the show, I was like, oh, well, he actually, as an assistant coach, has a ring. And, geez, he's been a bunch of final things. And, wow, he's, I never really gave him much credit, but he seems like he's at least a decent coach. I mean, his credentials are certainly no less than Thibodeau. And I remember we did a side-by-side, and I was like, wow. There are some areas here, if we look at these two guys under the microscope's resumes, where you could argue that Brown has an advantage over Tibbs, and then there was some small places where Tibbs had an advantage. But the one thing the Knicks were looking to accomplish with Mike Brown, at least I think, based on the results of last year and how it played out, was that Thibodeau, and this is not just his Knick tenure, this goes back to when he was with the T-Wolves and with other organizations, et cetera, et cetera. When he has been a head coach, he plays his starters a ton during the regular season and then just continues it unbelievably during the playoffs. He's just not a big believer in going deep into benches. And the Knicks were very frustrated by that. They felt like Jalen Brunson was worn out, that Josh Hart was worn out, that these players were worn out by Tom Thibodeau. And they wanted to get somebody who was not going to do that. And they looked again at the resume of Mike Brown, who they ended up hiring. They said, this guy doesn't do this. This guy has an alternative plan. This guy's willing to use his bench and do other things. And he's more flexible offensively. And he's not just a defensive coach. He's got ideas on the offense. And we need that. We need to innovate. We've got good offensive players now who also can play defense. Let's do something with it. I think the Knicks saw something in Mike Brown that maybe, frankly, some of us didn't see. And so far, he has certainly proven to be flexible. He has definitely saved his players in minutes during the regular season massively. And I think one of the things the Knicks did for him, and maybe they weren't willing to do it for Tibbs, or maybe Tibbs just wasn't interested. I don't know like where the line was there, but because the Knicks always seem to be kind of active at the trade deadline and looking to make moves and make their team better. But this year, they went out and got a handful of guys, and all of them are contributing. Like, it's amazing, what Alvarado is able to do. Like, I didn't even know if he would play in the playoffs. Mike Brown hasn't played him in the playoffs. And the Knicks, they're beating on the Sixers, and then you'll think like, they're going to throw the bench in here now, and the Sixers will get this thing a little closer. Maybe they're not going to blow them out by 30 or 40. It's going to end up being a 10 or 15-point game because these subs are going to, they aren't as good. Except you put Alvarado in there, and he's running like there's no tomorrow. You put some of these other – Shamet is a plug-and-play guy. Put him in there. Boom. Look at what he's doing. So they've picked up some scraps, dare I say, over the course of this season and maybe the offseason of last year that have really paid off for them, all right? And they're not so dependent on those 5 starters or just 6 guys in the rotation. They now can legitimately use 10 guys. Look at what Deuce McBride did yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Asked to start because Anunoby's not in there, and that guy goes out there and has the game of his life and is just draining threes like he's Steph Curry. I mean, the Knicks, and part of that is not that McBride's going to do that every day because he's not Steph Curry, but that they have guys who are capable of doing that, and that's because they have held the line. They kept McBride when a lot of people said, you can afford to let him go. They've kept Robinson when a lot of people said, they need to get rid of that guy. And then they've added the Alvarados and the Shamets and some of these other pieces of these guys that can actually go in there and play competent basketball and at times even shine. And I think that's the difference between last year's Knicks and this year's Knicks is Mike Brown's flexibility as a coach and the Knicks' flexibility as a roster to be able to lean on guys on that bench that actually can come in and give them serious contributing minutes when it matters most in the playoffs. That's the difference between this year's Knicks team. And I think that's going to make them formidable if they get to the finals and face somebody like OKC, is that they are deeper this year than they were last year. And Brown has proven to be more flexible. I think those things are going to help the Knicks. I don't know if they can beat OKC. I still have my doubts. But every day, my confidence grows that they will be. If they can't beat OKC, they're going to be highly competitive. I'm starting to feel that more and more every day.
So, Lurch, do you let your mind go to that place? You're in the Eastern Conference Finals. You're 8 games away from a championship if there's a sweep action, right? At a bare minimum, right? That's the amount of games that would be required to win a championship. Your godforsaken team has not won a championship since 1973. But once you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, how can you not see the light at the end of the tunnel? How can you not dream the impossible dream? Are you letting your mind go there?
I think you have to as a Knicks fan.
Envisioning
it's
it,
been so long.
About it,
I said this to Devaney on Friday. Go back and listen to my interview with Sean Devaney on Friday, folks. If you haven't checked it out, he's our NBA insider from Heavy.com. Sean's a brilliant basketball mind. He's covered the league for many, many years. He's very, very insightful. And I brought this up to Sean. And I know this is just rhetoric, and players, former players get all caught up in this kind of stuff. And we're seeing so many celebrities, right, sitting not only on the sidelines at Madison Square Garden, but now they're even traveling. Ben Stiller on the road, Timothy Chalamet on the road with the Knicks, of course, Spike Lee on the road with the Knicks, and many, many others. We're seeing Starks and Ewing, and and some of the regulars there every single game. This Knick fan base is absolutely positively through the roof energized, like almost off the shelf, which scares the heck out of me. Like, all right, let's not lose our what here. Let's just all right, just take it easy. This is a long road. Let's one game at a time, one series at a time. But Walt Clyde Frazier, the magnanimous, we know Walt. He's okay. He's a man of many, many words, most of them very colorful.
Sure. And
Walt Clyde Frazier said something that I thought actually was very interesting, and I brought it up to Sean Devaney, and he said it before my interview with Sean. So he must have said it, last Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
Walt Clyde Frazier said, I'm seeing some of the same things in this year's Knicks team that my teams back in the 70s that won the championships were. And his follow-up on that, he expanded on that, essentially saying that the idea of that this is a team. This is not any one guy. This is not, any solo act here. This is an absolute taking 10 guys and pulling them together as a single, highly functioning unit. Those Knicks teams back in both of those years, neither of them, I'm pretty sure, goes back a long way. So I was a kid when playing, but a little kid. But those guys were not favored, okay? They were a good team, but they were not considered a great team. There were other great teams out there. The Lakers were considered a great team back then. I don't remember who the other Titans were back then. It's too far behind my time. But the Knicks weren't the best team on paper in terms of talent, but they were the best team because they came together. Everybody just didn't care who scored. They just wanted to get the easiest basket. They wanted to defend in the best possible way. They wanted to make sure they got the rebound. Everybody was just focused on their individual role. It's like the good football teams we see today, and you say like, man, how did that roster do it? Well, it's the sum of the parts. It's not all of the talent. Why were the New England Patriots good this year? A lot of people just scoff at the idea. Come on paper, they were okay. What were they as a team? They came together as a team. That's what made them great. And so that's what happened with Clyde's Knicks teams in the 70s. And Clyde, I know he's getting hung up in this whole thing. He's a New Yorker too. He's going to all these games. Yeah. But it was interesting to hear. I've never heard him compare a current Knicks team to those teams because those teams are great. Those were known as great, all-time great New York team, the only two championships we have. So for Frazier to say that caught my eye. And then I asked Devaney about it, and we vamped on it a little bit. And Devaney said, I see what he's saying. And Devaney went guy by guy through that bench and started to explain why Frazier might be saying some of those things. And Devaney was like, I could see it. Like, I'm seeing some of the things that Walt is seeing. I don't think this is just hyperbole. I think this guy is actually seeing something that's really happening before our eyes. Look at what Alvarado's doing. Look at what Shamet's doing. Look at what McBride's doing. Look at what Robinson's doing. Look at how that bench is performing. My God, that's what the good Knicks teams did back then. Feels like they're doing it again now. Kind of interesting.
So let me ask you this, Lurch. If the New York Knicks do not win the NBA championship, is this season a disappointment?
For me personally, it won't be. But I think at this point, and I think really it was kind of this way the whole season, but I mean, I think the idea was if you're going to make a change at coach like they have, to get to the promised land.
Sure.
And this year has to be NBA Finals or bust. It just has to be. You have to get there. You have to
you have to get there. So if they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, it'd be a failure.
Hugely disappointing.
Okay.
But if they get to the finals, I'm not going to let myself go there and say this was a wreck. And I also want to see how they perform in the finals. I mean, if OKC just takes them apart, then, Houston, we have a problem here, is a little bit more eminent. But if the Knicks go out there and they don't win the chip, but they're highly competitive with OKC, they give, SGA some fits. They show some of the defensive chutzpah that OKC seems to show game in and game out. They take them down at a wire in several instances and maybe even win a game or two. All right. And this is a 6 or a 7 game series and the Mets and the Knicks are competitive throughout. Then it really makes you feel like, whoa, are we close? Like maybe one more year of this being together is just going to be enough. We don't have to go get, Giannis and upend the roster here. Just keep this group together. They're only together for 2 years now. Bridges, Towns. This is only their second full season together. Like, let's let this thing marinate a little. Why is everybody in such a rush to go instant championship? Championships in the past were always teams that were built. Michael Jordan didn't win in his first few years, okay? The greatest player ever to play the game. He didn't win in the first few years. Didn't have the roster together. Then he got the players around him, and suddenly it all happened. Pippen arrives, John Paxson and Steve Kerr and some of these other shooters arrive to help Jordan, and all of a sudden, they have a team that can win. So sometimes it takes time to put the right roster together. The Knicks are clearly trending in the right direction. Can they get over that hump this year? To me, it would be unexpected for sure. I think even the deepest, darkest Knicks fans of us, all right, those that are just completely off the rails nuts, would have to admit that winning a championship this year just didn't seem realistic. But now that we're getting close, of course, everybody's off the rails about it. So, but I'm not going to let myself go there. I do want to see them get to the championship. Of course, I'll be rooting for them to win. Of course, I'll be believing that it's possible. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. But I won't be heartbroken if they don't win the NBA title this year.
I don't know. To me,
I'll still say good season. Good season, Mike. Good job, guys. Let's go. Now, next year, let's go.
Maybe that's how you rationalize it. But if I'm in the middle of the finals and I'm a Knicks fan, which, again, I have assumed I will be. All right, actually, Lurch, 1 second here. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. He's got something going on. Something very interesting here for Boy Green. We'll see what this is all about. All right. Anyway, so just to answer Boy Green's question and keep it all on the rails here for a second, my thought here is, I'm not going to be heartbroken. I don't know. Any of you Knicks fans are out there in the audience? Throw it in the comments. Would you be severely disappointed, if they don't win? To me, they got to get to the finals now. They're on the cusp. They've got one more series to win. I don't think it matters all that much whether it's the Pistons or the Cavs. This is a hump that they must get over, that they can get over, and they are certainly looking like they are capable of getting over. So put all those things in the blender, and I think the Knicks will be perfectly fine and a chance to – and when you're in it and it's a 7-game series that's in front of you, just things can happen. You look at what happened with the Knicks yesterday. They go out there and they shoot the ball like that in the first quarter. That happens in a game in the NBA Finals, and that's a game you typically win. I mean, you get hot like that. You can't miss a 3-point shot. Everything's going in for you. You're just in perfect sync. Let's not forget that was a road game, too, for the Knicks. That wasn't at Madison Square Garden. That was in Philly. So the Knicks have shown the ability to win on the road in the playoffs this year. The Knicks have shown the ability to do a bunch of things. So I think it's a onward and upward kind of thing. Let's onward and upward. And so we'll see how that goes. All right, look, while Boy Green's out here, he'll come back in a second. Let me push us out to a break here. We are presented today by our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals, NERPCNY.com. That's NERPCNY.com. Let's hear more from them, and then we're back. More of the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. And don't forget to click that like button. And if you're not already a subscriber, subscribe. YouTube.com/@MC Show Digital. Be right back.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
Considering that we sleep nearly 1/3 of our lives, buying the right mattress is essential. At Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofa Outlet, you'll get a unique experience, one that saves you 30 to 70% off retail prices on top-of-the-line mattresses like Sapphire Sleep. At Box Drop, you'll schedule a mattress fitting appointment and get one-on-one service directly with Paul, the owner. No middleman. Family-owned, huge savings, no-pressure sales designed to save you time and money. And now Box Drop Syracuse has sectional sofas and love seats as well, with prices designed to fit your budget. Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofas. Set up your appointment today at boxdropsyracuse.com.
All right, we're back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Let me throw up the banner here. If you are not already a subscriber, please hit the old subscribe button. And also, if you're just coming into the room, hit that thumbs up like. That helps get our videos out to more. We are on a march to 1,000 subscribers. We're just a little over 100 subscribers away. We're about to hit 900. Hopefully, we'll do that sometime this week. But please let your friends know about us, and your enemies if you want to, whoever you want. But we looking for subscribers. That'll help, again, get our product out to more and more people. So please do that and support the channel. Again, we are in the throes of our monthly raffle, and you see the scrolling ticker going on below me here. The monthly raffle is drawn on the 22nd of every month. And you see right now, number 1 Austrian and T-Town Jet, who won, by the way, T-Town won last month's raffle with 24 tickets so far. Jamie the FedEx Guy, Zay Engineer with 20, and the 1977 T-Man with a raffle ticket as well. You can get in on this by simply gifting memberships, becoming a member to the channel yourself. If you gift a membership or you become a channel member, it's 2 automatic raffle tickets on top of all the privileges that you get. You can also super chat, super sticker. Any money equivalent of $3 gets you a raffle ticket as well. And if you join at the higher levels, because we have 3 members of membership, diehard level members automatically get 10 raffle tickets for joining at that level. Hall of Fame level memberships automatically get 20 raffle tickets. And you'll get that every month that you renew the membership if you stay on board at those levels. By the way, if you become a member of the Hall of Fame, you will indeed become eligible, or you won't become eligible, you will become part of our fantasy football league. We're going to do a digital fantasy football league this year, just with members of our digital channel. And so the way you want to lock yourself into a spot there is to become a Hall of Fame member. Already, Jamie the FedEx Guy, and it appears Zay Engineer are going to be members. So it is so far 4 of us in the Fantasy Football League, and we'll continue to add members until we get to our draft later this summer. Speaking of all that kind of stuff, I saw him here creeping in the comments. He's always there. Our Hall of Fame member, Jamie the FedEx Guy, who's already putting out propaganda about this coming year's fantasy league. Now, I don't know if he's going to use this for our Champs League, which was one of our 4 leagues that we started in the radio days, which we continue to do in fantasy football, or whether he's going to use this in our new digital league. But Jamie, every year, comes up with a creative name for his fantasy football team. We all do, frankly. Last year, I had the winning team in our Champs League, and the name that I came up with was Stairway to Evans, an homage to my favorite band, my favorite rock and roll band, Led Zeppelin, and I think the greatest song ever written, Stairway to Heaven. And so I took a twist on that and put Mike Evans' last name in there because it kind of rolled off the tongue very nicely, and I created a fantasy football team name, Stairway to Evans. And I've had some other good names over the years. The 12th Manchild, which is now our membership level. Our first membership level was a fantasy football name that I'd come up with, kind of a play off of the 12th Man, which is the Seattle Seahawks thing. They call the fans the 12th Man. And so I thought that was kind of cool. So I had the 12th Manchild. I was also picking 12th in our fantasy football draft. So, we have 12 teams, 1 to 12. I was picking in the 12 hole. So that kind of made sense to be the 12th Manchild. So you can come up with creative names. Boy Green every year comes up with different Jet-themed names. He's used Justin Fields. He's used the guy Winters, who was, I think, one of the centers for the Jets. Winters is coming. He was playing for the Jets at that time. Paul's come up with some really creative Jets-related names. But Jamie the FedEx Guy always comes up with interesting names. He's been the Tornado. He's been, I'm trying to remember some of his names. Jamie, if you're out there and you have time to get in the comments, type in some of the names of some of your teams over the years. You'll remember them. Jamie's the great historian of our fantasy football leagues. So anyway, Jamie putting out there in today's comments, his team name this year, apparently, at least for now, until he changes his mind, the Freeze. He's going to go with the Freeze. So I don't know if that's a play off of maybe the Freeze option, Boy Green, maybe perhaps old Donovan McNabb days, or whether Jamie's just after something else. He's ice cold. He's going to be the Freeze. Did he recently have a slushie at 7-Eleven or something? Maybe that's it.
Oh, it just hit me.
What?
It just hit me.
What's the Freeze?
Well, I missed it, quite frankly, because they, moved the time to a different thing than normal. But on Sunday was the NBA draft lottery. The Freeze could be a tip of the cap to Patrick Ewing's frozen envelope from 1985. We haven't done our draft order reveal yet, and that's supposed to happen somewhere around the NBA Finals. Perhaps the freeze is he believes if he puts it out into the universe, right, manifesting things, right, with the Knicks' potential NBA championship this year, that maybe he can manifest the number one pick, the frozen envelope, when we reach into the envelopes, which you don't do it like that, but maybe we could. And whoa, here's the cold one. Jamie the FedEx guy has the number one overall pick. Perhaps.
The freeze is making a lot of sense to me today, Boy Green. So I haven't discussed this with you yet, but
okay.
today, for me anyway, it's been
Sure.
going on for 3 weeks, but it is week 3.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. It applies. All right. Just looking at something here on my app to further clarify. So tonight will be my first week of playing in golf league. All right. I play. Golf
obviously
league.
you've been at school. Yeah, right.
Right. I don't usually play the first couple of weeks.
And the weather's bad.
On
Right,
starting it in April. The weather usually stinks, but I'm in school.
Sure. Okay.
And I teach some classes in the evenings, so it doesn't enable me to play in the golf league. So I'm clear. I just finished up classes last week.
Okay.
I'm just finalizing grades this week, and so I will be at golf league for the first time tonight with my teammates. I just got a text during the show today. Hey, looking forward to seeing you tonight. And I was like, okay,
right.
me too. Except tonight, the high today, Boy Green, in Central New York is going to be 55. With a low of 35 now, and my tea time will be probably around something. I haven't checked yet, but it's probably around 5 o'clock tonight, which means the sun's starting to go down. It's heading down. I know we're light until 8:30.
Do you have a line in the sand? I refuse to play under this temperature.
I do mentally, but when it comes to league and stuff, I'm not going to be like a baby and be like, it's too cold tonight, I'm not coming. All right.
Okay.
But you know me. What was my nickname? Do you remember? I was just talking to my students about this last week.
Weather geared up
on the show. I told my students that my ex-wife used to call me the Boy Scout. All right. And she pulled me the Boy Scout because I'm just always I'm the guy that has like 2 umbrellas in the car just in case it rains. I bring 3 different jackets on a night where the weather's uncertain. Is it like it might go, could go this way. I'm like, okay, well, let me bring all 3 options this way. Whichever one I need, I pull out.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'm just that way. I guess I suppose I'm a little bit of an over preparer, but I like being over prepared.
That's better than under prepared.
Right. I like being comfortable in my environment and then not being out there going, oh man, why don't we just go inside? Like, okay, let me put on my warmer jacket. Okay, I'm good. Everyone else is freezing. You didn't prepare well. So that's just always been kind of my modus operandi. And so I went out, Boy Green, knowing that this was, knowing early season golf and everything. I went out and bought a heated vest. All right. So I have a vest that has has a power pack in it, and I fire it up, and it heats the front of my body and my low and upper back, including my neck. And I'll be wearing that tonight at golf. So
Lurch,
50, 45, 47 with wind. Who cares, baby? I'll have the old heated vest on, Boy Green. I'll be good as gold, baby.
Lurch, I am not. I'm not responsible for your financial decisions. That's not one of my responsibilities on my bingo card. But I have to ask you. Okay?
Yeah.
So, depending on how you answer this, I will give it my blessing.
Okay.
Okay. Did you purchase this heated vest? It's called.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you purchase this with the intent, I can now maximize my golf season? Normally, April golf, screw you, buddy. Me, Manchild, I'm not involved. However, with the benefit of the sudden warm vest, maybe I'm a bit more willing to jump. Maybe I'm a little bit more froggy, and I'll play some April golf because I've got the heated vest. If you don't plan on your golf season expanding, it seems wasteful since, how often are you going to use this thing? You're certainly not using it in June or July. And then what, at the tail end of the season? I mean, how much colder does it get in September? So I don't know the wingspan,
I'll answer your call there. Number one, does it necessarily expand my length of my season? Not necessarily, but I am called upon in these league situations to not call in, essentially. Sorry guys, it's 45. I'm calling in. Find somebody else who wants to play in the cold. I won't do that to my team. All right.
Regardless of warmth or not, you wouldn't do that.
The same token. No, I mean, you commit if you play in a league or you play in something where you're committed to a team, you shouldn't be that way. Okay,
willy-nilly, for that. A serious thing, that's one thing.
Exactly.
That's not.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, look, it's competitive. I don't know if I'd say that about our team, but it's competitive. And so, fact of the matter is that I'm going to show up.
But so it doesn't expand your season, but what does it do? What does this vest do?
It allows me to go out on a night like tonight and to be
perform better?
Yes, absolutely. Because if I was out there freezing, I would perform horribly. All right. So it'll give me the opportunity to perform better. Also, don't forget, we get these freezing cold winters now in central New York. I throw that heated vest now underneath my down jacket when I'm out there shoveling in the freezing
Oh,
snow.
so not just a golf purchase.
This is a multi-use
Oh,
item.
versatile. Oh, I see.
Yeah, if it were just for the one-off, no way that I would do it.
It seems
But,
limited.
yeah, I think I can actually get use out of this. I have thought about this for the last few years, and I was just like, oh, this one looks like a bad one Monday night. Who knows what next week's going to be? Maybe I could, get an early jump on this thing. So I did.
Okay, are you
almost bought one in the winter, not for golf, but for that other reason. But then I was like, no, maybe this is the time.
Are you a hot sleeper or a cold sleeper? And what I mean by that is this: like when I go to bed, not that people need to know this level of detail on my personal sleep schedule, but I like it freezing cold in the room. Like if an AC is blowing, great, and if I'm cold, I'll grab some blanket and then I will either cryogenically freeze and put myself to sleep or whatever. When it's hot, I am incredibly uncomfortable. I shed the blanket. I don't want to shed clothes, but I'm like, I'm just sweating. This is miserable. It's bothering me. So are you a cold sleeper or a hot sleeper?
We are the same. I'm like you.
Okay. All right.
What I would say though is that like I like the room cold, but I've got the blankets, up.
Of course, that's fine.
Up over the the top of my neck. Like I've got to be completely covered. And in the summer I'm like you. I just get everything off me. Oh my God, just please, I fan it up. I'll turn up the AC.
There you go.
Whatever I have to do to be comfortable. So yeah.
Would you wear this like? Is this like a bulletproof vest or what does this thing look like?
It looks like a normal vest. It looks like a
So is it thick or thin?
To be honest with you, I thought it was going to be a little thinner than it is. I bought it online, so you try.
You had to guess,
read the materials and everything. So this is like let's see how this. Let's see if this is.
Would you sleep with this thing if you were cold?
Would I sleep with it?
Yeah, I don't know how big. I can't envision it in my head, so I don't know exactly what it looks like. But
I would not sleep
your
with
body
it
warm. Okay,
right.
Okay.
I think again. And maybe I won't end up keeping this vest. I'm gonna see if I like it or not. I'm gonna try it. Try it. I was fooling around with it. I got it yesterday. I was fooling around with it. I was like, boy, it's a little bulkier than I thought. So I want to see. I'm gonna put it on. Maybe I'm gonna go.
Does it affect your range of motions for golf swings?
That's,
if it's too bulky,
what I'm not certain of. So I'm gonna go out in the backyard and I'm gonna see if because when something's when you have
how heavy is it weight wise? How heavy is it?
I would call it mid-weight. I mean, I thought it was going to be thinner. I thought it would be more like a fleecy kind of vest. Okay. All right. With maybe a little tougher than fleece, maybe something that would be a little rain repellent. It's a little more of a winter texture, I would say. This particular one. They have millions of them. Oh my God, millions of them. I wanted to get
that can affect you in sport. Like if I have heavier, the way I throw a football or something is different by the body thing that's on there. So I would imagine a golf swing even more so. If something's heavier on that, you have to torque your body a little bit different, sort of adjust some of the mechanics.
All right, you're eminently curious about this, so hold on. I'm gonna mute myself.
Oh, go get it. Okay,
I'll show you the whole setup. It seems people are very curious about this, yourself included. So here, I'll show you the vest. We'll take a look.
There you go. Okay, you go get that. And no, I'll explain to the people, Paul just randomly dropped off the show. So I was telling this to Lurch before the show started. I'm getting my windshield replaced. When I was coming back from Pittsburgh in the NFL draft, everything was going peachy keen. Everything was great. And then some guy had a truck with rocks, and his rock flew off and hit me in the windshield. I'm like, what the? And it didn't appear to, it didn't shatter the glass, but it made impact. But you can't feel it on the front side of the windshield or the back side. But it was happening on the inside. I'm like, maybe that's not so bad. And then all of a sudden it started cracking all over the place. I'm like, oh. So Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace. They're apparently going to come to the house. They called a little bit earlier than normal. So they give you almost a plumber range, hey, we'll be there somewhere between 9 and 5. And they give me a 5-hour span. I'm like, oh, boy, all right, I guess 1 to 6 was on there. And then I get a call at 12 something. I'm like, oh, boy, what is this? And he's like, hey, I'm just around the neighborhood. Do you want me to swing by and get started? I'm like, yeah, I guess. All right, sure, man. So if you're ready to go.
All right, you ready to see the vest?
Replaced. All right, let's see this thing.
Yeah,
all right. Let me get Mr. Freeze off the board.
We got a lot going on in our lives today.
We do, apparently. Okay,
so
let's see this thing.
So here's the vest. Okay, so it's black. All right, sleeveless. You can see it's a vest.
Okay, show me the front side of that. Yeah, let me see that thing.
Side here.
Okay. Oh, all right. Okay.
It's got like a furry kind of fleece.
It appears that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was a little heavier than I wasn't expecting necessarily the liner the way it is, but it's made of like you can hear it's like a canvasy, vinyl-y.
So where's the warmth come from? Are there heated packs inside there?
Let me show you. Okay, so there's 6 heat zones. 3 in the low part of your back, 1 in the center of your back, 1 in the neck, and then 2 like on the front. I think like kind of like in the just below the chest area.
All right.
So they're like little heat zones. They're like literally like planted in the vest.
Can you control the level of heat?
Here's the power pack. Yes, this is fantastic, right? Here's the power pack in here. So there's like this inner pocket. Okay. Open this sucker up. Look at the size of this thing, man. I was like, whoa, this thing is big, and it's got a little weight to it too. I'm like, right? But here's the battery pack. Like, look at this sucker.
Does that get dangerous if it gets wet?
Well, it's inside the jacket. There's no way it's going to get wet. It's inside and below.
Okay. It's packaged up so it won't.
And it's in a pocket inside it, like almost impossible. You'd have to be in pouring rain for it to even get damp.
Okay.
So I
just want to make sure.
Wet. All right, and then look, it plugs in. All right, here it's got the 100. Charge it up. It's ready to go.
Okay.
All right.
How long does the battery pack last?
I'm going to find out, but it looks long. I mean, I was just messing. I went on a walk last night and just put it on and just testing out how warm it is and trying the different zones. And then you see here on the front.
Okay.
So I come over to the front here. All right.
Yeah.
Here's the little. These are the buttons. These are remote controls here.
Oh, hot or colder?
This is for the front zones, and this is for the back zones, right?
So all operated for the front. Oh, that's
I could just heat the front of myself. I could just heat the back of myself, or I could do both, right? You hit it once, all right? Hold it down, hit it once. So you see it turned red.
Wow, whoa. Okay, yeah, I could definitely see that. Good Lord. Okay.
So now the front is on the highest setting, the warmest setting, all right? Same thing on the back. Now the whole vest is heating up, right? You got both zones. If I touch them again, it goes to the middle temperature, white. If I touch it one more time, it goes to the coolest temperature, blue. All right.
So what is the temperature difference? Does it tell you how exactly hot that is?
It didn't say in the directions, but I suppose I'm going to find out tonight. Let's play around, right?
Okay. Why would I only want if I'm out in the blistering cold, wouldn't I want the whole thing heated? Yeah. Why would I only want my chest or my back? Like I would want the whole thing, I would imagine.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's expensive. Like, I don't the amount of power draws, so on and so forth. I don't know, but there's heating zones. It's heating zones, right? But it's a little bulkier than I thought it was going to be, but it is sleeveless. So, I mean, mostly you want your arms to be free when you're playing golf. So it is sleeveless. So that should help.
All right. Paul will be right back. My windshield guy's here.
Oh,
right.
your windshield guy's back again?
It's another thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I'll be
back out again. All right. So Paul's getting, he told you the whole story, I suppose, while I was getting the jacket, right? He literally got a crack in his windshield and he's got like the safe light guys at his house, like, literally, he's asking me before the show. We were talking about this before the show. He says to me, so how do they do that? He's never had a windshield replaced. I was like, I think I've had like 5 windshields replaced. I mean, I know I'm a little older than Paul, but I've had 5 windshields probably replaced in my cars, and I've seen other people's windshields replaced. He was like, oh, what do they do? I'm like, do they have like giant suction cups? I was like, yeah, they kind of do. They're like, they kind of get rid of, they soften the glue. Your windshield's essentially kind of glued in, and then they put these giant suction cups on, and they like crane it right out of there. And then they get the exact windshield that fits your car. And then they bring the new one in and they drop it in the spot and then put new glue in there and sucker's ready to go. I mean, pretty much don't even really have to wait these days. And nowadays, as Paul is having done today, they come out to your house. I've never done it at my house, but I knew that they had this service. But, I've gone to the glass place and had it done. And, it usually just takes a couple hours. Sometimes you can even just sit there and wait, and then boom, walking out, you got a brand new windshield. So yeah, he got hit. I think it sounds like on the Pittsburgh trip, he got a pebble that hit his windshield, and he was like, yeah, it just looked like a little tiny thing. And the next thing I know, I was like, you don't have to tell me, it's spread all over the place. So yeah, the cracks do tend to spread. You can do a little thing where they drill them or something, go to a special place and they'll drill them, and it's supposed to stop it. But yeah, anyway. All right, so just a lot of personal stuff going on in the show today, folks. So again, my apologies. So, but it just is life. This is life. This show is as much about life as it is about sports, especially when we're in these months where there isn't like a ton of things going on. But let me go to a couple of items that are going on that I want to make sure we get to in today's show, Paul. Sure. One is the Odell Beckham, John Harbaugh situation.
Real quick, I just want to tell you that you were right. So I just met with this, this is a whole thing, but I just met with the windshield guy out there. Okay. Again, driving to Pittsburgh or driving back from Pittsburgh, rock hits my windshield. And I'm like, God, geez, what a jerk. And then, like, what do? You're on the highway. Well, what am I going to do? Hey, can I get your license plate, sir? You hit me. No, I did. So I'm like, whatever.
Well, yours was a truck, a rock off a truck.
Yeah,
It was
right.
transporting rocks, apparently.
And I'm like,
small rocks.
I'm glad it didn't shatter. I guess it could have been worse. I could have died, gotten in a horrific car accident or something. Anyway, so I drive it all the way back home, and now there's these people here, and I've always thought, like, because I'm a curious person, how do you replace a window? How do you just, like, is it suction cups? You just rip the thing off and slap it? Like, what the hell is going on here? I have no idea. Anywho, so the guy came here early. It was supposed to be not during the show. That's why I tried to plan it that way. But anywho, he said, "Hey, I'm in the neighborhood. Do you want me to get started?" I'm like, "Yeah, I
do it."
I don't know. And he says, so he just explained it to me. I just met him real quick out there. He says, "Hey, your car's in the perfect place. Thank you for moving it around." And he says, "It's going to take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do this thing." And I'm like, "Okay." And everything you just said, because I started thinking about, like, what about all my stickers, the registration, the inspection, all that jazz on that, my Easy Pass thing? Like, what an annoying nuisance. Like, what do you do? Like, do I have to go through a whole thing? But he just said, "Nah, buddy, I'm a professional here. No problem. We're going to switch out the windshield. I just need your keys," which I just handed to him. He said, "It's going to be fine. It's going to take an hour and a half, 2 hours. Got my car over here. You should be in the proper position. I'll flip everything over for you, and I'll let you know when it's done." I'm like, wow, okay.
Take that windshield out of there, and you'll never see it again.
So I'm not going to watch it because we're doing the show right now. So I don't know how they're going to do whatever they do. But, hey, you know what? That's why they're the pros. Yeah.
Well, they do have those giant suction cups as you're talking about. They have like a.
Is that true? I just sort of made that up in my head. I had no idea how they actually did it.
It has like big giant suction cups in it.
What do you do with the broken one?
They get rid of it. I don't know. They take it. They're not leaving it in your driveway. You'll be fine.
I appreciate that. Is there any way that they can refurbish it and save it, and then they could, like, sell it off or something?
Ask them if they do. I don't know if they, in today's world of everything is recyclable, can you recycle a windshield? I don't know. Or could it just be repurposed for something else? I don't know.
Well, thank God for the most part. Apparently, it's going to be covered with insurance and stuff. So thank goodness. It seems that way.
I always get the glass coverage on my insurance, folks. If you can, get it. This
is my first one. I've never had this happen to me in my life before of a windshield issue, and apparently here it is. So shout out to that guy. So
glass coverage might be an extra $25 or $30 a year. It's so worth it because if you just get one of these, you've gotten it back at 10.
Right, 100%. So it seems that way. Anywho, I distracted you, Lurch. Anywho, any final notes on the heat jacket that I missed when I ran out there?
All right, no. So I'm gonna kind of mess with it in the yard before I head out to golf.
But you're testing it out tonight.
And my plan is to wear it tonight. But if I take it out in the yard and I'm swinging the clubs and it's just too bulky, then I'm gonna have to come up with a plan B.
Okay.
And then the vest is going back.
So let me ask you this, okay? One last one on this, and we can get into
two purposes. Number one for the winter, and number two for I can't use it for one of those two purposes. It's getting returned, and then I'll try and get a lighter weight one. There was so many. I was looking. I was like, oh my god, there's 1,000 choices. What do I do? So I just tried to get something that wasn't too expensive, that got good reviews, that looked reasonable in the pictures, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. All right, let's try this.
Okay. So here's my final question on this. So we have people. Zay, he's a perfect example, but like he wouldn't work for right. Your son Zay, right? So like, parents tell their kids, "Hey, it's cold outside. Wear some pants, wear a jacket. Come on, you damn kids. Why you always like, rebel against the machine and you want to wear shorts in the cold and all this other stuff." So like, just to use him as a example into this topic, right? I imagine there's some golf guys who are tough guys. Oh, no, I'm not going to wear any gear. If we're playing like men. We're playing with the polos on and everything. And if you have those guys in your group and you go out there tonight and they're going, and you're feeling just fine with your brand new warm jacket, are you giving them any crap? Are you ribbing them at all? Or are you just silently, I'm very comfortable.
Hilariously laughing silently. Yes. Laughing hilariously, but silently.
Okay. There you go. For anyone that gave you crap or anything like, okay.
Idiot. Nice. Just looking over going, yeah, that's what you get when you don't plan, baby. Planning. Matters.
Nice. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I got into that. Anywho, to your Giant stuff, I imagine you're over the moon, Lurch, with Harbaugh's comments about Odell Beckham Jr. because apparently they're talking all over this 4 or 5 times a week. Like, good Lord, that seems like there's some friends that don't talk to you 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's cooking over there, but okay, interesting. 4 or 5 times a week. But the comments that Harbaugh gave about Odell Beckham Jr. here at the rookie minicamp where he had some media availability, it's like basically how I interpret it, Lurch. You tell me how you interpret it. It's like, yeah, we'll see at training camp. We'll see what happens. It has to make sense for both sides. OBJ clearly wants to be a Giant. He said as much. Giants, by not immediately signing him, are sort of saying, yeah, we'll see what happens. It doesn't seem like they're enthralled. They're running over themselves to sign him. That was sort of my take on it. Lurch, yours?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not going to bring him in unless it makes sense to their roster. And I think you want to know what I'm really thinking. This is what I'm really
give it
thinking.
to me. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm thinking is this, and I think this needs to be in the blender here. It might ultimately be just simply John Harbaugh's decision. All right. Whether he likes the player enough, feels like the player can help this roster, so on and so forth. As I've told you a million times myself, and I believe the Giants are kind of living by this motto as well. Their new creed is, in Harbaugh we trust. Okay.
Adriana said it the other day in our interview last week.
Like I was unprompted. I was like, you're singing to the choir here. You saw me like, you're kidding me. Like, right? Because I've been saying this, since the hire was made. We've hired a competent coach, and we're going to trust him. Okay. We're going to trust him to put the right people around him. We're going to trust him with the roster. We're going to trust him with the draft. We're going to trust him till he's not to be trusted anymore, because we have trusted the wrong people for far too long. And it's time to start trusting people that have proven that, if given trust, can handle the job. And John Harbaugh has earned that respect. And let's see what he does with the New York Football Giants. So it's in Harbaugh we trust. But here's what I think. Okay. So it's very, very clear that John Harbaugh and Odell Beckham know each other. Okay. Not just because Odell played for a year, right? I think it was just a single season for, the Ravens, but that there's some kind of, call it a mild friendship, a nice acquaintanceship, whatever you want to call it. There is a connection between the two guys. Enough of a connection that they actually kind of stay in contact with each other, probably about, things even maybe beyond football, but probably mostly football stuff. All right. Maybe there's like a mentor, mentor protege kind of thing. You can develop that with people in the league sometimes. All right. But there's a relationship there of some sort, more than typical. And so thus we're hearing all this stuff about how they text frequently and they're in touch with each other and so on and so forth. Okay. But let's not forget, Boy Green, to just go back. And I don't have all the details, and maybe I should have rounded them all up so that I could pile them on the table here today. But I don't think I need all the details to remind people, especially those of us that are Giants fans or even those that follow the NFL enough, that at the end, Odell Beckham was doing everything he could to ruin his relationship with the Giants. The Giants were trying to give him a long leash, and he just kept taking advantage of the long leash and making it worse and worse and worse. Every time they gave him more freedom, he would abuse that freedom and do something away from the field that wasn't good. He would say something that probably wasn't appropriate. He would do so, it just became this kind of thing where the Giants, I believe in my heart of hearts, that after they drafted him and after he had the immense success that he had with them the first few seasons, record-breaking success as a wide receiver, that the Giants, and particularly a guy like John Mara, okay, who, to his detriment perhaps, is known as a loyalist, okay, is a guy that is loyal to his people and has always proven to be that way, probably to his detriment, as we've seen with the front office and much of the hosing out that has gone on with many people in the front office when John Harbaugh arrived and said, all right, we got to get rid of some of this cronyism here, and we need to clean up this place. I need a new sheriff in town here. We got to clean this place up, all right? Got to get my own people in here, all right? So I think maybe to their detriment, the Giants and John Harbaugh have been incredibly loyal to their employees, incredibly loyal at times to their players, and so on and so forth. So I think that there was this struggle, and the Giants really wanted, after those first few years, that to have Odell Beckham be a Giant for life. Like, the thought was, this guy's been great for us. Let's have him. This is a guy that's going to be a Giant for life. Except Odell took a sledgehammer to that. Okay. And then he smashed one thing and then smashed another thing. And then even as they, continued to, have press conferences to try and explain their way out of it, or just shake their heads, or behind closed doors, whisper to each other, Odell was becoming a nuisance. And John Mara, I think primarily, was probably as much his decision as anyone else's, said, all right, I've had enough. Like, the guy's embarrassing the organization. He's embarrassing me. I gave him this very, very, I gave him a lot of freedom, and he's abused it. Unfortunately, we need to part company. And so the Giants trade him away. All right. Even though Odell could potentially still be a capable wide receiver. You asked me last week, how would the Giants use him? I said, I could see them using him down at the goal line. I could see him being a close to 50 reception a year kind of guy. I could see him be a key third down guy in this thing. I see touchdowns. I see third down conversions. I see a guy with great hands. I see him evolving and changing his game a bit, but that he could still potentially be an effective player in this league. I don't know whether he still has it in him or not, but I see the possibility. All right. He hasn't played much football. 2 seasons off. What do we say in the last 5 years? We hasn't played an ounce of football. That's
where he didn't play it down, right? Yeah.
But he's not in an age. He's not 39. Okay, right? What did we check it? I think was it 33 or 34? We checked it last week. So I mean, he's
30,
still
30. Yeah, I think he's younger. I think he's 32. But let me see. Yeah.
I mean, come on, like that isn't, at least by athletic bodily standards in football, washed up. Not that guys can't be washed up at 33. 33. I think guys can't be washed up at 33, but there are many, many very effective players playing that age and beyond in the NFL. So he's not an old man yet by football terms. Okay. So that's what gives me the thought that maybe, in the right situation, work the right way, with the right quarterback, with everything in it, that this guy could be productive again. And why wouldn't you want to have a guy that could be productive and, dare I say, be a form of a mentor for some of these guys, at least in terms of his work ethic, which he's never been criticized for, and his ability to catch the football and run routes. I mean, he's excellent at those things, period. Has been his whole career. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'll criticize him in other areas, but I'm not going to criticize him there. And frankly, again, you're listening to a person, folks, today who does not want Odell Beckham back on this roster, okay? I really don't, okay? But I'm going to give it a fair shake here. I think there's a tug of war potentially going on here, Boy Green, that nobody's talked about, at least that I've seen in the media, and that is the Giants' front office, and in particular their owner, being, dare I say, for lack of words, slapped in the face by Odell years ago, okay, embarrassed by him, all right? And the idea of now we're going to be the team to give him a break and let him back in. We're going to be the team to give him a second or third chance. We already gave him 4 chances. We got to give him a 5th chance. I think there's a waft there about we got rid of this problem. And after we got rid of it, by the way, it didn't do much away from us. It proved that we got the best out of this. And now we're going to take it back after all those years. Why? Because Odell wants the sentimental thing of being back in a Giants uniform, because it'd be cool, because some of the fans might dig it a bit. Like, he embarrassed us. I don't know if I want to go down this rabbit hole. So I think potentially there is this tug of war going on between ownership and, say, John Harbaugh, if Harbaugh's even in favor of Odell coming back to the Giants, and the idea of, John, let's not do this unless, it makes 1,000% sense. And right now to us, got some talent in the room. Does it make sense? And I think John Harbaugh's response to this, again, this is my interpretation, nothing that Harbaugh has said, but that John Harbaugh's response to that is, we'll wait and see. We'll get to training camp. We'll figure out what our roster looks like. We want to look at these guys in rookie camp. We want to get into the OTAs. We want to look at everything. Let's see what we've got on the roster here. And then we'll make a decision down the road if it works for us, if it works for him, if the price is right, which the money is probably not an issue at all in this situation.
It's probably veteran minimum, I would assume.
So I don't think money is going to be a thing here. I think it's just fit. I think it's just, do we want to bring this guy into our receiver room? Do we actually think that he can help him? Or are we just doing him a solid? I don't think the Giants organization wants to do Odell a solid. I think the Giants organization might be willing to go back down that rabbit hole if John Harbaugh essentially endorses it to a point where he says, this guy can really, really help us. You got to let me bring this player on because he can really, really help us. And I think that John Harbaugh has the difficult task of proving to an ownership group why they should go back down that rabbit hole. And I don't think it's an easy challenge to overcome. And that might be part of this whole puzzle that is Odell Beckham Jr. back to the Giants. And I don't know if it's going to happen because ownership may just put their foot down and say, sorry, John, but we don't see it. You haven't convinced us. You haven't sold it good enough. I'm sorry, but we're going to overrule you on this one and say, Odell, he can stay where he is. Might be the end result.
Here, maybe this is a bad comparison to make, but, we had Tim Tebow here on the Syracuse Mets Lurch. People may forget that. But Tim Tebow, Heisman quarterback, was on the AAA affiliate of the New York Mets. That is the doorstep of the majors. That's as close as you could get without being in the majors. And Tim Tebow was here. And there was a lot of people who complained and said, whoa, Tim Tebow, you're taking spot away from Joe Schmo, buddy. Whoa, where's the outcry? And then ultimately the answer is, hey, man, Joe Schmo doesn't matter. This is Tim Tebow. This is a unique opportunity. We're going to take a chance here. We're going to do it. And it didn't work out, obviously, but hey, worth the kick of the tires. And this is different because football has obviously much larger rosters, but who do you rather want on your 90-man roster? Odell Beckham Jr. or Joe Blow? With all due respect, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to sell jerseys. There's going to be topics for us to talk about on the shows. And it's veteran minimum. It's not like you're guaranteeing him any money. If it works out, great. We just found a guy that's a contributor. If not, who cares? You cut him like in the third week of the preseason. So I think it's all reward, no risk. The only risk is headlines. And I assume OBJ is more mature and he's not going to be proposing to field goal nets and, being in precarious situations in random hotel rooms. Yep. I assume he's going to be as buttoned up, especially under Harbaugh, as he could possibly be. I don't remember a lot of OBJ drama in Baltimore when he was under the thumb of one Harbaugh. I don't remember that. I remember it happening in Giants land, with all due respect, but I don't remember that happening with the Ravens. So maybe it is worth the risk, because why not? It's a lot of upside.
And that's part of Harbaugh's case to management, if indeed he wants Odell on this roster, is I understand what happened here, fellas, and I know you're hurt by it, and I don't blame you. I mean, these are battle scars, and battle scars don't go away. However, all right, since he's left, while maybe he hasn't been productive year in and year out, he has not gotten any trouble. I had him for a year on my roster. Straight as an arrow, worked his butt off, was a great mentor to my receivers, so on and so forth. I've talked to the people in Cleveland. I've talked to the people here. Odell and I have kept in contact. He learned from those mistakes. Doesn't he, like anyone, deserve a second chance? Doesn't he deserve a second chance more than the average guy, because he essentially is a Giants legend? So why not bring a Giants legend back and let him finish it off where it all began? Wouldn't that be cool for the fans, for us? And if he's a productive player, look at what we've got. We've gotten a gift from the gods, a guy on a player minimum that actually can catch 50 passes for us and catch 8 or 9 touchdowns and be a goal line force for us if they could use him that way, like I'm suggesting. It might be like, that ain't so bad. So, again, I have been against it, but I'm not a stubborn person that I'm like, I don't care what you say. No. Everything's worth looking at. Everything's worth considering. NFL rosters are very, very complicated. And you never know when you can catch lightning in a bottle. I mean, gosh, if the Rams had never given Kurt Warner a chance, okay, the guy was bagging groceries somewhere, he was, yeah. And he was turned into an MVP. Crazy things happen.
And if you guys watch the movie, The American Underdog Story, which is the Kurt Warner story, people were like, why are you bringing in this grocery bagger? This wasn't widely praised. This wasn't widely accepted. It gets a little extra juice from being a Hollywood film, but that wasn't widely praised or accepted. And quite frankly, a lot of jokes were being made. So, sometimes you got to, make a move, be willing to get up.
So, so I think, again, it's, I don't know. I guess I've been against it primarily because I'm not sure if he's got anything left. That's number one. The most important.
That's fair.
I just don't know if there's anything left based.
I don't know either.
His production in recent years is just bad. Period. End of story. He had that one good year at the Ravens. Even when he was at the Rams, it was okay. We went through the numbers last week. We don't need to go through them again. And then you got the 2 years where he essentially didn't play at all, including last year. Guy didn't play at all. So that's a problem. So that's number one problem. And then number two for me is just again, we know number one receivers, and he was once a number one receiver in the NFL. Most of them are divas. Okay. They have a diva-esque quality to them. There is something about them that there's a flamboyance. There's a thing about, look at me. I'm the man. And I just don't want bad influences coming into this locker room right now, where you've got a quarterback in development. You've got some good young talent on this roster in development. And I don't want those players gravitating potentially to someone who has diva-esque like qualities, because then what could happen, right? You say, hey, he does it, I can do it. And then you have 5 divas on your team, and then it becomes out of control. So I understand there are always type A personalities and different types of personalities on every team. But you don't want too many divas on your team, or it can get hard to manage. You can't lose the locker room. And so to me, I just worry about the younger players with Odell. Now, everything I've heard about Odell over the years is that in the locker room, on the field, on the practice field, that he's, quote, a model citizen, that he's one of the hardest workers, that he does it the right way, he's attention to detail. He's not the guy that's late to meetings, okay? He doesn't have those qualities in him. He's there. He shows up. He does the work, okay? So that makes me feel a little more like maybe, that crazy stuff that's happened away from the football field essentially isn't who he is there, and therefore he'll be fine around these young guys. As a matter of fact, he could be a benefit to them. He could be that veteran mentor that everyone loves to have. Oh, no, I've been down that road. Let me tell you, son, how you do this. And and now you're getting good advice from the guy who's been through it before. I love that when it's the right guy. Is Odell the right guy there? So those are my questions. I'm literally exposing my conscience here about how I feel about Odell as a Giant.
And I can't blame you.
Maybe threads in that are truth that are going on actually in Giants headquarters. It may not just be like the mind of Lurch here. It might be the mind of the Giants, and some of these issues that I have, they might have the same issues. Because to me, a lot of this is just common sense, right?
Yeah. That was what I would be asking. I mean, again, is the juice worth the squeeze? Because OBJ, people are going to write about it if it happens. If you sign Joe Blow, there is no headline written. Outside of your own team website, we have signed random guy, undrafted free agent from Mountain Technical Institute. Like, OBJ is going to be on the front page of ESPN. It's going to be the front page of NFL.com. It's going to be on all these places. And you're cool with that if OBJ could give you something. If you think it is a non-needle moving move, then do you even get off the canvas? My guess, no. So it will be fascinating to see.
Hey, Mac for Life bringing up one here that I'll throw on the screen here. He says, Mac Jets for Life, I should say. By position, he's an old man. So he's saying a 33 receiver. I don't know, Boy Green. Comment on that a little bit. You're better with, breaking it down position by position, guys.
Yeah,
how many successful 33-year-old or older receivers do we typically have in the NFL, or are they burnt out by them? We know running backs go really early.
Oh, sure.
Receivers? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Jerry Rice played into his late 30s.
He was
all-time great.
Larry Fitzgerald played into his late 30s. He's an all-time great, obviously.
Really good, really well into those. So, give me your thoughts on that.
I think the follow-up question is, what makes a person great, right? So I'm going to go to running back real quick. Chris Johnson, CJ2K. The thing that made him exceptional was his elite track speed, 4.23 or 4.24 speed, and he had that. When you get older, you lose that. It leaves your body, and you just no longer have it anymore, right? Like, for instance, Mike Evans. He's a veteran receiver, just got signed by San Francisco. What makes him special? He's huge. He's not suddenly going to, I shrunk Mike Evans, right? Like, that's not going to happen. Like, Mike Evans is really big. Guess what? He's still really big in the red zone. If I'm Brock Purdy, I'm chucking up a 50-50 ball to Mike Evans. I'm going to see what happens. So,
by the way, hold your thought for a second. Yeah, opposite end of that, we have Tyreek Hill, who has not been signed by anybody right now. What is the hesitancy here? Aside from, Hill's been a little wacky away from the field too. But primarily, I think the major concern football-wise is what made Tyreek Hill is exactly what you were just saying before. His elite speed. Right. He's getting old. If that elite speed goes away, he's not big. He's got good hands, I guess. He runs good routes, I guess. But, I mean, the speed is what separated him. If he's not Tyreek Hill, the speedster that he was going all the way back to his Kansas City days, what do I want to pay this guy, major buco bucks here and have him be part of my receiving core? So I agree with you. There are some characteristics and traits which work better than others. And Evans is a great example because of his size and his catch radius and all the things. Even though he's lost some speed over the years, all right, he still can do things on a football field that other guys can't do. Go ahead. Continue your thought.
No, and a quick follow-up on Tyreek Hill. Unfortunately, the Jets were playing the Dolphins when this happened. He had a very disgusting, gruesome, you Google it at your own, comfort level, leg injury, which was devastating. Like, it was very disturbing. So I highly recommend you don't watch it. But if you want to see what I'm talking about, feel free to Google the Week 4 Jets-Dolphins Monday Night Football game of this past season. Yeah. That's another reason he's unavailable at this point. But yeah, speed is obviously another thing. Can he still do it? And then everything that comes with him. So yeah,
is he going to come back from?
Yeah, is he? I don't know what his health. Would he even be ready by week 1? These are things I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but OBJ, his speed, his agility, his agileness in and out of routes and things made him special. Can he still do it? I don't know. He hasn't been a super productive receiver in 5 years. He has not had 1,000-yard receiving season since I believe 2019, which was 7 years ago. So it has been a long, long time for OBJ to be that level of player. So yeah, he is old, but again, what can he still contribute? Has he matured to that level that Lurch was asking to the gods? He doesn't have the answer either. But is OBJ willing to be a mentor? Because like OBJ's been through a lot of different things in his life, which I imagine could be valuable. He could relate to a lot of people with all the crazy stuff he's done. So is he willing to be at that level for himself? That's a TBD. But yes,
Can you
33
change,
in terms of age.
I said about Carmelo Anthony in the NBA,
Right,
He,
definitely. Yeah.
There were points of his career. Melo's an all-time scorer in the NBA. He's a Hall of Famer now. All right. So, but Melo, until his last couple of years in the NBA, he could have done it 3, 4, 5 years earlier. Been a role player. He could have had a really good career, back end of his career as a role player, but he didn't want to do that. He was a diva. He wanted to be the number one scorer. He wanted the ball in his hands the most. He wanted to be the first option in offenses. And as a result, he became less and less valuable to teams during that stretch. And then finally, after the Knicks jettisoned him off and then he ended up in some other places, he made that decision. Like, all right, I'm just going to come off the bench. I'm going to do some other things. Like that was like something he would never be willing to do. And then finally he came to I'll go back to the old days. A lot of people might not remember who Mark Aguirre is. But Mark Aguirre was a fantastic basketball player, and then he got put on a good team, all right, and then he became a role player on that team. I think it was the Lakers. I have to go back and look at my Mark Aguirre history. And Aguirre thrived, okay, because he was willing to accept a role and not be number one anymore, all right, and he was like 3 or 4, but he was contributing in major moments and in big ways, and he was being matched up against third and fourth best guys on a team, and that was making him a better player too. It was all because he was willing to change the role. So, you have to have players that are willing to change roles. I would assume that Odell just wants to be in a roster at this point, just wants to contribute. So going back to the whole Odell thing, I don't think that's going to be an issue with Odell.
Fair enough.
Makes sense. Is that everything for today? I mean, have we hit everything for today? Again, remind people about the raffle. Our raffle is underway. We've got, as Boy Green said, just 11 days left till we give away our next group of prizes. The 2 life-size Jim Boeheim posters. All right, one of them autographed that'll go on your man cave, on your wall. You could even have them framed if you want. And then the laser engraved 12th MC pint glass right here. Lovely, lovely thing. Put some beer in here. It looks even lovelier.
Great.
Maybe I'm going to do a morning brewski.
You have to do one of these, Lurch, because again, I think it just stands out special when there's a drink in it because you see the logo like in the drink. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, it's kind of floating there. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
But the good thing about these, the reason I like these laser engraved, and I have a handful of these, is because these are completely safe. You never have to worry about them. It doesn't wear off or anything. Whereas a lot of the glasses, some of which we've already have and sell in our little store have a sticker, and then that sticker can peel if over and over again. It probably won't the first time, but if you keep putting it in the dishwasher because of the hot water and the detergent and the stuff that mixes in there, the sticker can start to peel, and then you lose the logo, which is the whole point.
Right. Yeah.
Then you end up with just a blank pint glass, which is really not all that meaningful.
Still effective, still utilization wise.
You drink drinks out of it, but you're losing the kind of the savoir faire, dare I say, of the brand.
That's also true.
Of what we're doing. So the laser engraves are a sure thing. So I've gotten a handful of these. We'll see. Maybe at some point we'll sell the laser engraved in the shop. The only thing is the laser engraves are really expensive. They're much more expensive to make them. They're much more expensive to sell. And I don't want to have items in there that are just unreasonable for people to want to be able to get and just have a token from the show. So, but go check out our store. We always put the store link in at the in the description of our videos, in the comments below our videos. So you can always click on there. It's in Etsy and super easy. But anyway, 2 life-size Jim Boeheim posters and the etched pint glass going out the door. We'll draw that 11 days from now on the 22nd. Easy ways to get in. Gift memberships. Any membership gifted is worth 2 raffle tickets. If you gift 5 or more, you'll get 20 raffle tickets right out of the box. All right. And you get it for being a member. So if you're not already a member of the 12th Manchild, you become a member of our lowest level, the 12th Manchild. You get 2 tickets right out of the box. And you could super chat or super sticker. Every equivalent of $3 will get you a raffle ticket for this month's raffle. And you see the leaderboard scrolling below us there of the folks that are in on the raffle so far this month. We do a raffle every month, and we draw on the 22nd of every month.
Which, by the way, Lurch, I wanted to give this shout out. You said anything else. Well, I want to make sure, because people could be watching the show in a lot of different ways. We have over 500 people in the room, which we're having a lot of fun doing a lot of life things today, sports things, a little bit of everything. YouTube.com/@MC Show Digital. So if you're watching on some other realm, my Boy Green YouTube channel, Twitter, perhaps, we're only 108 subscribers away, Lurch, from 1,000, 1K. That's just a seismic lands, milestone, historic mark. We're about a month and 3 weeks or a month and 2 weeks or something away from our 1-year anniversary officially from when we left the radio show. Our final show is at the end of June, and then we started this digital journey in July. Technically, we started a little bit earlier on the digital side, but not in full flower until July. So we'd love to get to 1,000. If you guys can help tell a friend, 1,000 subscribers would be pretty cool here on the MC Show Digital channel. I've reached cool milestones on the Boy Green channel. It's at 8,620 something now, which is super cool. But I'd love to bring some of those people over to 1,000 here on the MC Show Digital channel and keep helping this baby grow.
All right. So there you go. So lots of ways to contribute, folks. We appreciate all of you who have already today jumped in and done that. Again, today we are presented by Northeast Roofing Professionals, NERPCNY.com, our friends at Northeast Roofing. You need roofing needs done here in Central New York. They specialize in the Fayetteville and DeWitt areas and the surrounding areas, but go check them out on their website and give them a call, see if they can come to your house and fix it up if you indeed are in the CNY area. Obviously, if they live somewhere else, NERP is not going to service you, but they are terrific sponsors of ours. And doing a phenomenal job. And Mookie is downstairs barking.
I can hear him.
What is
Last thing I just wanted to highlight here from Jamie the FX guy says, hey, Boy Green, you can trade Jason Tatum for Giannis? Get the hell out of here. If the Celtics are blowing up this group, it's Jaylen Brown for Giannis. It's not Jason Tatum. So stop it. No, thank you. Hey, we had this debate a couple years ago on the show. Should they trade Jaylen Brown at the time for Kevin Durant? Should they do it now for Giannis? Jaylen Brown's a little moody, but he's really talented, and he was the NBA Finals MVP for a championship year. So I go back and forth on that. I don't know. I'd have to really look into the numbers to see if I'd rip the cord off for Giannis or not. But yeah, he's pretty good. You're on mute, Lurch. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Good point. I'm talking to myself. Who didn't do that? I put it on mute so you didn't have to hear the dog barking. He's going crazy anyway. It's time to wrap up anyway.
Yeah,
folks, thanks to everybody for tuning in today. We appreciate it. Again, get in on the raffle. We'll still have a few more shows left, live shows for you to jump in on the raffle. Again, membership. You can support the channel just with super chats and super stickers. And we'll keep promoting that until we get to the 22nd, Paul's dad's birthday. We'll draw on that day. And then our next live show after that, which I think is just a couple days after, that's when we'll announce the winner. So we'll always draw on the 22nd, and then we'll start our new raffle. I'm already gathering up prizes, Boy Green, for next month, trying to come up with some. I got some interesting things. I'm trying to think like what combo works. But I found a couple of things. I was down in my basement doing some clearing out and going through some of the many trinkets I've had over the years, and I found some cool things that kind of connect together, which I thought were kind of cool. So I don't know. I'll run it by you before we decide what we're going to do for next month. But appreciate everybody who does support and appreciate everybody again who's in the room today. If you're not already a subscriber, it's absolutely free. We are just a little more than 100 subscribers away from 1,000. So if you can click that subscribe button right now, you're not a subscriber, you can click it right now. You can move us closer to 1,000 subscribers. That gives us an opportunity to be fully monetized on YouTube. It also gets us exposed again to more and more people. So we're continuing to try and grow our subscribers. And for those of you that are already subscribers, can't even tell you how much it means to us that you help us grow this channel. Again, we're out here less than a year. We're trying to get to 1,000 before we get to our year anniversary, and we've only got about another month and a half or so before we get there. So we need you. We need your support. We need your friends. We need your family. We need everybody to click that subscribe button and become part of our growing community here in our new digital world. Boy Green, final thoughts if you have any. Go ahead.
Yeah, just thank you, everybody. Man, we'll have the NFL schedule release coming out on Thursday. We'll still have all our regulars. I think we're going to have our Bills guy on Friday to react to the schedule. Everyone else will be next week in terms of Jets and Giants, so can't wait. And we'll find out our tailgate, which is important for me, what game we're going to be tailgating at this fall. So the Thursday will give us the answers to the test, and then we'll be able to quickly try to pick a game. So I can't wait for that.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you live again on Wednesday at 11. Plenty of content coming your way. Take care, everybody. Peace out.